100 wow, 100 ball, 100 sip koi. I need a dance, and it's not yours. I'ma spend that on my boyfriend. Bend them over, slap the ass. I go, bend them over, slap the ass. I go, bend them over, slap the Press 1 for butt fun. Press 2 if you wanna follow through. Press 3 if you're gay. Press 4 for a three-way. Let's think about who? Let's think about what? Let's think about sluts. Do they know they're sluts? Let's find out. A disclaimer. You're a bitch, and you should feel like a bitch. Bake cookies and blank on 'em. Give the icing. So sticky. You should fuck. You should fuck. You should fuck men again and again. Even on a phone. Even on a dick. Even on a bad day. Even on a phone. Even on a phone. Even on a dick. I go bend them over, slap the ass. I go bend them over, slap the ass. I go bend them over, slap the ass. I
I make all my songs live on Twitch. You can check that out in the link down below.
Oh, hello. I guess some of you probably weren't expecting me today because reading comprehension is low and I misworded the way that I did my post about the surgery. So this is my last week. This week is my last week commencing of streaming, and then I'll be gone. So it's good to see you. And yes, I have not had the surgery yet. But if you see people going like, aren't you getting a surgery or something? Weren't you supposed to be fucking off for a while? Can you just fill them in for me so that I don't have to say that over and over again? My bad. What time is it there? 9:30. Or are we gonna go on strike? What you can do if you like. You know, if you weren't here, I'd just be gaming. Like, if I only had like 6 viewers to worry about, I would just be playing games. I do it after the stream, but like, if none of you gave a shit, then I would just be gaming. Ant-Man, thank you so much for the 10 gifties. What? We'll miss you on your time off. Get better fast. Thank you so much, Alex. Hopefully it's a smooth, swift recovery. There's a part of me is like, hopefully they don't even find any lesions. But if they don't, I'm gonna have to get rummaged in so many different ways for so long to find out what the fuck is hurting me. So in the weirdest way, I kind of hope I do have endo because then it's case closed and the treatment is right there on the table. It's like they do the diagnosis and the treatment all in one. It's a twofer. And I had to pay a lot of money. So I had to pay thousands of pounds out of pocket to get it done this fast. Because if I had done it through the free UK healthcare system, I'd still be waiting probably for like 10 years. So I'm quite hopeful now that I actually get to be seen, get done, and get out of there. Rummage. What a word. Yeah, rummage. My biggest fear is that they don't find any endometriosis, and then they ask if they can butt rummage about it. Like if they want to go in my booty hole, I don't want to have an endoscopy in that end. I've had an endoscopy in my mouth, and that was traumatic enough. You mean you want to go in the other end as well? But, like, if they do this surgery, they're gonna belly button rummage me. So, I'm so happy to find out that it's through the belly button, because I genuinely thought they were gonna go up my vag, through my womb, and then perforate a hole through my womb and then look around. I don't know why I thought that. But no, belly button time. Girl is getting all the rummaging, god damn. Well, hopefully just one kind of rummaging. And you know what? I'm kind of tempted, if they don't find anything, I'm very, very tempted to get the saliva test just in case they missed anything. Just as a backup. Any routy. So if I was in a normal setting with normal people, I would say immediately. But because I can't tell whether you're asking because you're a normal human being or because you've got your dick in your hand, there are people out there who have a belly button fetish, right? And so I learned this lesson about describing yourself to random people you don't know from my landlord when I was a kid. When I was a little kid, we used to have a lodger, and she was this hippie lady with very long hair. And she didn't believe in throwing things away, so she wanted to find a new home for her bathing suit, and she listed it in like a Yellow Pages thing or a newspaper or something, going, used swimsuit, looking to find a new home. And this guy called her up and was like, "I wanna get this for my girlfriend, but I'm not entirely 100% sure if it'll fit her. Could you describe, like, do you have big boobs or small boobs? Because I don't know if they'll fit her boobs. Like, what bra size are you?" Uh-huh. And, like, she just straight up described her body to him, and, he was like, "Thank you, I'll get back to you in a bit," and then never got back to her. Oh, no, I think he randomly hung up. I think he just hung up. But, it's hard to remember. I was a child. But my mom had to break the news to her. Like, she was describing it to us, and my mom was like, "Oh, he was just masturbating. You know that, right? You know that no normal person is gonna want your used bathing suit. Like, most women, it's a hygiene issue, so most women are not gonna want a used bathing suit, just so you know. Most of the interest is gonna be from men, and if you describe your body on the phone to men, they are going to be asking about it to masturbate, and you just sexually assisted a guy for free. Normally, women on the phone, they do that for money, but you just provided him with a free service, sweetheart." And she went in her bedroom and cried. Quite a lot of her discussions with us ended with her running to her bedroom and crying. Um, Bless her soul for not knowing. Yeah, but like I learned an important lesson. She was in her 20s or 30s, probably her 30s. I don't know, somewhere in that age bracket when that happened. And I learned like age 10 or something, maybe 9. Very, very young. I was like, okay, don't describe your body to random men. Gotcha. Thank you, Mega Man. I appreciate that. Mega Man and Ant-Man, you absolute legend. Thank you, thank you. Your mom is so smart to say that too. No, she was just blunt. Um, I she is smart too, but that was just the blunt part of my mom. Apparently, it runs in the family, but it skips a few people. So, like, there's 2 ends of the spectrum on my mom's side of the family. The hyper polite, gentle ones that won't even swear, like my granddad, who will say things like, "Well, there," instead of saying, "For fuck's sake," right? He would never raise his voice. He's a very gentle man. He describes things very gently. He's just like he just loves animals and he's very, very gentle, right? And then there's like 2 of his daughters are really savagely blunt, have a zero tolerance policy with everyone, very short fuse, and they won't necessarily raise their voice at everyone, but, like, if someone did something cringeworthy and stupid around them, they'd literally turn to them and go, "That was stupid and embarrassing," and walk away. I could give you loads of examples of my mom. I brought my boyfriend home one day to introduce him to my mom, and she looked him up and down when he extended his hand to shake her hand, and she went, "You could do better." To me, like, she was like, you could do better." Didn't shake his hand, walked away, right? So, like, that was my mom, and I have an aunt like that as well. So he has 2 daughters who are that savage, basically, and then 2 daughters who are, like, a bit gentler, a bit friendlier, a bit more polite about everything, a bit more like granddad, to be honest with you. That would ruin me. Jesus. Yeah, luckily men are very uh persistent, you know? Like the spiders where they'll you could nip off a leg every single time he proposes, and he'll still come and crawl back up her leg, up her web, and be like, "Hey, so do you want to date me now?" And she'll be like, "No, I'm still hungry. Eat another leg." And he'll zip line to safety, and be like, "Fuck my leg, ah!" And then still use his remaining legs to crawl up and be like, "So what about now?" And that's been my experience with men too, to be quite honest with you, so far. I don't know if I've just not met a man with self-respect in my entire life, or if the ones that like me just have no self-respect. That still remains to be seen. But when I was at school, I used to beat boys up if they pushed my boundaries too hard. I would warn them. I'd be like, "Stop, or I'll stop you. You've been told I'll stop you. This is it. Like, I am gonna hurt you next time." And usually these warnings would be in quick succession. It would take 3 minutes to go from, "Hey, how are you?" to this person now being wheeled away, going to the hospital, literally with broken bones. I'm not bragging, like, I genuinely have broken many boys' bones, and every time they would come back from the hospital, they would ask me out again, and never tell the teachers how they ended up with so many broken bones. So, I kind of feel like this is quite a universal experience, and I genuinely did not expect my mom's savagery to ever deter any man I ever dated. She could crush their ego 1,000 times, and it would not matter. They would still stay with me. They would that's just not off-putting enough to off-put a man, in my experience, ever. Bruh, the literal definition of insanity. Um, yeah, I guess, maybe. I don't know. Insanity suggests that it's outside of the norm, but in my experience, it's just the norm. I couldn't tell you why. I couldn't understand or fathom it. I would never personally ask someone out who had broken my arm and my leg. I would never ask someone out who had broken my knuckles or thrown me down a bank, or anything like that. None of it. The things I did to the guys who asked me out before they asked me out would be deal breakers for me. Absolutely. And indications that they don't like me as well. They never even thought of that. They never thought maybe she doesn't like me and she doesn't want me to pester her. You may remember me mentioning being anxious about my meeting my girlfriend's parents the other day. Just thought I'd come on and say it went really well. And I'd just like to say thank you for giving me the confidence boost I needed. Hell yeah, Henry. I hope you're still here. And I hope that teaches you a big lesson. Because to be honest with you, parents should be hoping that you like them, not the other way around. I actually canceled my vacation because someone else told me how I should handle it better, and this almost threw my 8 years of sobriety out the window. I hate it when other people control my life, what and how I should live. Interesting. I don't know if that was a question, but welcome, Phoenix. I have no idea how I can contribute to that statement. Clearly, you breaking their arm is flirting. That's on you for giving them false expectations. I think if you're gonna play stupid games, you're gonna win stupid prizes. Assault is not flirting. They are two different things. Sarah, thank you so much. That's such a good saying. Yeah, and I mean, it's really relevant in this one. I kind of feel as well like in this day and age, the amount of damage you do to someone who's assaulting you is exactly as much justice as you're going to get, because nobody is ever going to the statistics are against you in pressing charges whatsoever. So the self-defense is all you're going to get. What do you do? Because I have a girlfriend. I feel like she is cheating. What do I do? Okay. So there are two scenarios here that you got to watch out for. And the first is maybe she is cheating and maybe you have a really good gut. And maybe you should figure out how you're going to find out in a way that wouldn't ruin the relationship if she's not. Because there are ways to do that, right? There are ways that aren't like trust breaching and like, relationship ruining that where you can figure out what's going on, or you could be possessive and have anxiety and be seeing things that aren't there. Some people will say, just talk to them, just talk to them. But the risk you're playing there is if you end up with someone who is cheating, they will lie to you. And if they realize that they've made you suspicious, they will get better at hiding the fact that they are cheating. So the only answer you're going to get if you ask your partner, are you cheating? Is no, I'm not cheating, right? Because a person who isn't cheating is obviously going to say no. And a person who is cheating is obviously going to say fucking no. Okay? If you trust them, and they are a trustworthy person, they're going to say no. If you trust them and they're an untrustworthy person, they're going to say no. Okay? So an honest conversation about this issue is going to do jack shit. Okay? People who say, just talk to them, are sabotaging you. You can't. Most of the stories of people discovering their partner has cheated on them have never been, hey, are you cheating on me? And the person going, yes, I was cheating on you. How did you know? I'm very sorry, by the way. I'll just see myself out. Like, no, that is not how that goes. Ever, right? So I'm just gonna throw that out there. You need to differentiate between your own anxieties and possessiveness and your gut. Like, I would need to know, why the fuck do you think your girlfriend is cheating? Because there's like a lot of people out there who are like, if a woman that I met in the clubs is still going to the clubs after I'm with her, then I don't like that anymore, and that is cheating. And it's like, well, why would you get with someone just to stop them being the person that you fell in love with? Like, if they are a fun-loving person who likes to go to clubs, I'm sorry, you can't just get with someone and demand that they stop, right? And that doesn't mean they're cheating on you either. Yeah. So, the first thing I would suggest is differentiate between your gut and like jealousy, suspicion, baseless suspicion and jealousy. Thank you, Mert. You're an absolute legend. And the next one is isolate and draw circles around why you think they are cheating. So is it because they're suddenly buying lingerie that you're not seeing anymore? Because that could be a sign. If they're buying lots of really nice clothes that you never see them wear, are getting worn, are being put in the laundry, but you're never seeing them, that's suspicious. Specifically if it's lingerie. Like if someone just buys a new dress and it's nice and they wear it out and not just for you, that's not a sign of cheating. Okay, I'm sorry. If she buys a new dress, she's just gonna wear the new dress. That's how new clothes happen. But clothes that you would only wear on a fucking date, right? That's different. If you are not good at discerning the difference between date clothes and casual clothes, you can't use this as a sign. You don't even bother looking at her clothes, okay? There are some guys who come into my stream and I'm wearing really casual clothing. It just looks nice. And they're like, are you going on a date? Are you going somewhere after this? Where are you going? Where are you going to be wearing that? Why are you wearing that? And they'll look at a top that they like and they'll go, where is that dress from? Where are you going to wear that dress? And I stand up and I'm just wearing casual baggy pajama pants underneath a top, right? So if you are not very good at understanding clothing, this is not the sign for you, okay? The next one is they're very guarded and very private about their phone. So they do things like if their notifications are not previews of their messages all of a sudden, like that's a new development. Why is that happening? And fucking Tapple, thank you both so much for the gifties. You're all so fucking generous. Sarah, thank you so much. Oh my god, everyone's being so nice today. Oof, there's so many. Thank you. Oh god, so many. Are these all the gifties? Is it just like, is the sub thing just not used to gifties? Is this what is happening? But thank you so much. I appreciate it. But I will continue. Here are some signs. Are they buying lingerie that you never see? Is one of them. Is their phone use becoming more private? Are they going to the bathroom to answer the phone or going away from you whenever they have to answer the phone and not answering the phone in front of you? That is very weird. If you're their partner and they don't answer the phone in front of you, that is very weird. When they're responding to texts, they make sure that the phone is facing away from you, that is very weird. If you ask to borrow their phone, say like, oh, you know that picture? Can can I just go through your gallery? You took a picture the other day and I want it. You can even set this up. So you could be like, hey, can you take a picture of me with this? Take a few pictures with me. And I'll pick the best one. And so they take a few pictures of you, right? And you're like, send me the best one. And then a few days later, you can be like, hey, I feel like that wasn't the best picture of me, but I want to upload one to my socials or whatever. Can I just look through your gallery a sec? Can you give me your phone? Can I look through the gallery? And if they will not give you their phone, if they immediately, don't worry, I'll just and they scroll through it in front of you and they hold on to the phone and they will not pass it to you. So like, they're like this in front of you and you could go, it's okay, I got it. I'll just pick out. And if they're like, nope, I've got it, and they're like unusually possessive and like about their phone, that is a sign. You can even make this more useful. You can specifically ask them around the time every day they're getting messages. If you notice that they're getting messages a lot, right? And they're getting them from someone you don't know or someone from work who texts a lot, which is weird. And it always seems to happen at 10 p.m. At around 10 p.m., you could be like, hey, could I have one of those pictures that you took of me? Can I just go and look? And then you've got the phone in your hand when they might message next. So you might be able to see the next preview without going through any of their shit, right? Because you can go, and look through these pictures. And you're not rummaging through their messages. You're not invading anything. But if at 10 p.m. on the dot, a preview just happens to come up, like these ways can help in notice the patterns, notice the things that you think are signs of cheating. Don't explode about them. Never let on about your suspicions. Just mentally take a note of things like this so that you can do a non-invasive way of seeing what's going on. You know? So like these sorts of things are useful, helpful little stages to help you build your case. And I think like the best way to deal with a cheater, the most toppiest, tippiest tier of dealing with a cheater is to suddenly throw them out of your house. Like when they go to work, they come back and on the doorstep is a note saying, oh, this isn't your home anymore. Here's all your stuff. I've called your mom. She's coming to collect you. I've blocked your number. You cannot knock. If you continue to knock or try to pester me, I will have the police remove you. I will immediately be calling the police if you dare even ring the doorbell. Have a nice life. And then you move on and you pretend you never met him and you never knew him. You don't talk to your friends about him. And if your friends bring him up, you just go, I don't talk about that guy anymore. We're broken up. He cheated. That's it. Don't go into any details and just get on with your life and be super happy and carefree, and don't message him, don't talk to him ever again. Just delete him and act like you don't give a fuck. Even if you're crying yourself to sleep at night, just pretend you don't give a fuck. Because the first thing that he's going to do is he's going to try and get with his new situation. And quite often cheaters get with other cheaters. So if they have a wife or husband and kids, that guy isn't going to go there, right? And what it does is it gets you out of their life as soon as possible. It reduces heartbreak for you, but it shows that he ain't shit and he ain't worth shit to you. Because the biggest ego stroke that cheaters get is they want you to feel devastated. They want you to cry because it shows that you valued them. They feel like a stud. They feel so important when they're a heartbreaker. When they feel like everyone around is just crying because they can't own you, because everyone wants a piece of you, but you're sleeping around. Like, it strokes their fucking ego. A cheater will love it if you cry, love it if you're sad. So be fine. Even if you're not fine, be fine. Just be like, bye. If you can just cut them out and ghost them and never explain yourself, even fucking better. They're so confused and hurt. What happened, babes? Where did you go? I just want to talk. What happened? They know exactly what fucking happened. They're just hopeful that you don't know and that they can weasel their way back into your bed and give you a few diseases before you figure it out. So don't. Just, if you can kick them out and leave it a mystery, it's even fucking better. Leave them and be fine. And never take them back. Cheaters cannot be taken back, okay? They don't love you. You can't love someone and cheat on them. So, they don't love you, they don't respect you, they're never going to respect you, and they'll respect you even less if you take them back because they know exactly how shitty they can treat you and you'll still love them. So don't. Cheaters are worthless, not worth your time. Never take back a cheater. But if you find no evidence of cheating, absolutely none, um, I think like maybe have a conversation with them and be like, hey, I've been having a lot of anxiety that you've been cheating lately, and I'm so sorry. And I think it came from me, and I don't think it came from you. But I wanted you to know that I was feeling this way and that it was scaring the shit out of me. But I've come to the conclusion that everything is fine and that I am in the wrong. And that, I don't know what triggered me. I think it was XYZ. And if that doesn't settle it for you, if you find no evidence of cheating, you've never, and you've done everything right and you've been kind and you haven't flown off the handle at them or whatever, maybe it's time to go to therapy if you are feeling baseless suspicions, because the stress will harm you and your nervous system, which can do permanent damage and give you autoimmune diseases. So you can get physical permanent ailments from constant stress. So if things that are not stressful situations that aren't actually harming you are harming you, you should definitely see a therapist and solve that, okay? Beer will not help with that situation. So I'm in a long distance relationship. Diggy Pup says, I'm in a long distance relationship with someone in Nevada, but I don't trust them because the trust isn't there, and I feel like they don't trust me either. Keep it in mind. I'm not in Nevada, Vegas. I'm in a whole nother state. How should I approach the conversation? Because I don't want to hurt my boyfriend's feelings. Hurt his feelings. Hurt his feelings. I'm not saying go out there and be like, listen, you tiny dick little bitch. You balding motherfucking idiot. I'm not saying like hurt his feelings on purpose. I'm saying that like if this is the foundation of your relationship. Okay? This is very, very important that trust is important to every relationship. Either you establish it or you move on. And you can't do that without a conversation. You need that conversation. It has to happen either way. What you can't control is how he feels about it. Okay? You need the conversation either way. The relationship isn't going anywhere without it. You can't control how he feels about it. But the best way to be kind, respectful, and delicate while you offer his dick, to men. If you offer if you want to offer this information as gently as possible, you can definitely go and talk about your feelings. Don't talk about him or what he's done. Talk about your feelings. Say, sometimes I feel like the trust isn't there for either of us. It's good to say either of us because it's not about you persecuting him. And that without that trust, no relationship could really go on, whether we were in different states or not. And I feel like I'm not willing to have a relationship with no trust. I'm not willing to worry. I'm not willing to have this relationship where there's no intimacy because we're so far away from each other, no closeness, and no trust. Like that is missing too many components to count as a relationship for me. So we either need to talk about building some trust together, bitch, or we need to talk about ending the relationship because even though there is love there isn't enough other things for this to really work. And that's sad because I do love you and I'm having this conversation because I want to trust you, because I want to be with you. So state your intentions. That's the most important thing here. Use I statements, not you statements. So it's not an accusation. Doesn't hurt his feelings. Doesn't sound like he's the problem. Use I statements, but don't blame yourself. Don't take responsibility for this. This is both of you. Okay? Don't apologize for anything that isn't a mutual decision that you have both entered into. You both decided to be in a long distance relationship, so you should not be apologizing for the distance. These sorts of things, okay? Don't grovel, don't make it too much your fault. Just describe exactly where you are and what you feel. Because people can argue with statements that are accusations or things like, you always do this or you always do that. People feel defensive and then the conversation is just broken, right? Then it becomes an argument, right? But if you talk about I statements, no one can argue. No, you don't feel that way. No one can argue with what you feel. So it's harder for it to descend into an argument and it's harder to hurt someone's feelings when you have necessary conversations if you just talk about and offer what you are feeling. Okay? And state your intent, and that your intent is to get closer, to either find a way to make this work or step away before we hurt each other too much. Good luck to you. Long distance relationships are really fucking hard. And I think like the main cornerstone of a distance relationship is definitely fucking is definitely trust. You have to trust someone more than the average relationship because you have to trust them when they have all of the options and are nowhere near you and anything could happen and you'd never know. And that's really hard. That's really fucking hard. And you have to trust that someone loves you even if they can't have sex with you and can't touch you and be close to you as much as as a relationship normally would. So like you need more trust, not less trust to do a long distance. I hope you find a way to make it work. Bitch! How about if you know that your partner, now ex, has been cheating with a married woman, would you tell the other woman's husband in that case? Abso-fucking-lutely. If I had a partner who was cheating on a married man, I would go tell the dude. I'd go save him because no one did that for me, and I wish they did. So I'll go save him because otherwise I'm just helping abuse him because I know and I could save him and I'm not. And I feel like now I'm an accessory to the abuse. But I wouldn't just fling the accusation out. I would send the proof. So, however the fuck you found out, you should be sending that to the husband. Just be careful because if you found lewds or whatever, messages and everything, that if you send those lewds to him, that is revenge porn. But however, if you tip him off and he goes and looks for those messages himself without, if you're like, "Psst, by the way, your wife was cheating with my partner. So don't tell her you know, just look at her messages. If you tell her you know, she'll probably delete her messages. I strongly advise you go look for them without it. You know? That's the kind of thing that I would do. I would be careful about it. Like if I was like, by the way, they're meeting up on their lunch break and they're fucking, and I broke up with my partner because they're doing it, but I doubt they've stopped. I wouldn't let on that you know. I would just go and watch, go get confirmation yourself because they'll just move it and hide it. But good luck with that. And if you're really petty, get with him. Go on a date. See if you click. Tape, saying thank you so much for the fucking super chat. Paying little by little for your 480 times 3 something camera times. What does that mean? But yeah, good luck with becoming a millionaire. It's 3 o'clock. Okay, that explains why Pete is being so needy. He is really, really needy right now. Hang on. Let's do the bunny cam so you can watch this happen. Oh, they're so spread. Look at that. Look at the feet. He's fully back. How they're so comfy right now. What a comfy little bun. God, I love her. Anywho, treats time. Oh, I didn't realize I was giving it to them off screen. Whoopsie. Bitch! I fucked dads. I fucked dads. Right. Is there bunny under the can? Is there a pecan available? Yes, there is. Sometimes it doesn't work. Okay. There you go. God, I love him. Question about bunnies, they don't really like to be touched, are they? It's just that's a love question. That's a how much does your bunny love you? Because my bunny fucking loves me. Look at this. Even when he's got a treat, I can wobble him. Does not give a fuck. I can like move his ears and stuff. He might be like mildly annoyed, but he won't stop me. Like most bunnies will hop away when you do this to him. Ah, it's frozen. You missed out on some really good wobblage. There you go. Like, he loves to be loved. He asks me to love him. He beats me up if I don't love him. He'll bite my feet if I don't lightly step on his forehead. I love how from behind he just looks like a ball. Mmm, ball. But yeah, this little guy, he fucking loves attention. Not all bunnies do. And that might not even reflect on how much they like you. They might really like you and just not like to be touched, but my bunnies love it. Halva not so much yet, but like Pete didn't love being touched until a few years in. I feel like they do. If you're a good owner, they do get more tame progressively, and you don't have to force it on them. Like you don't have to convince them or get them used to touch. They will just slowly desire contact with you over time if you are a trustworthy person and you treat them with respect. But the thing is, bunnies need respect. They have boundaries, so you have to greet them properly and ask for consent before you touch them in their own language. Otherwise, they won't like you. They're a bit like cats in that way. So, I think it's just like how you do it. Not everyone is smart enough to get on with bunnies or cats. Like, you do have to be pretty smart to get on with bunnies and cats because you have to meet them and speak their language. They won't just submit to you because you're in charge. They're not into hierarchies, they are into respect. Yeah, so if you want a bunny to like you, you have to respect them. So, it's like a skill issue. How do I stop hating myself and do the things that my brain says instead of my heart? I mean, I don't think that any one single thing I say is going to make you make the right decisions for you. I think that if you're struggling with that and you've tried to correct your behavior and you haven't succeeded, it is definitely time to go to therapy. Therapy is like one of the most undersung things that has been invented in relatively modern times. I mean, India had it for thousands of years before us because they were kind of more advanced in psychology, but the rest of us, have it's a really recent invention for the rest of us, and you can get it at the click of a button. You don't even need to go into a therapy room. You can get it online or on the phone. And like this is an incredible time to have access to mental health care. And this is exactly the kind of thing that therapy is for. Therapy can be for when you have destructive patterns that you want to change. I will say though that the more you understand about being a human, bitch, the less you will start to conflate following your heart with being irrational. Like your brain and your heart are pretty much the same thing. I'm just going to say that. You have neurons in your heart. We do think with our bodies, not just our brains. A lot of people don't know that. And that a lot of emotion is just highly evolved logic. It's the logic that kept all of your ancestors alive and they passed it on to you. It's all the things you feel but don't choose to feel. That is just ancient instinct. So fear is instinct. All emotions are instinct. Fear is the instinct to stay out of danger. Love is the instinct to connect with people of value who will help you survive, this sort of thing. So I'm just going to lay it out there. Your emotions are intelligent too, and you don't have to listen to one or the other. They're both a form of intelligence. They are both trying to keep you alive. They are both working in your interest. And the more you start to understand that, the more you'll realize that you don't have to work against your emotions to make good decisions. How do I control my anger? I would say if you want to control your anger, the way that I mostly control my anger is I don't know if it's a transferable skill. So I learned very young that responding impulsively in the moment and indulging my emotions before I thought anything else through usually put me in harm's way and worsened my situation. Nobody rushed to comfort me, no one rushed to help me, no one placated me or indulged those feelings. But if I did anything as a result of those feelings impulsively without thinking it through, my situation would be worse for me, right? So I started to sit alongside my anger and look at it as an observer. So, like, my face feels really hot, and my stomach feels really cold, and my fingers feel warm, and I'm flushing red. Observe all of these things just in my head, like a scientist observing it. And I would not like run around with it and be my anger. I would notice it as a sensation my body is experiencing and nothing else. And then I would say, I'm not going to act on this because this is anger. I will act once I know that the anger has passed and I can be more reasonable. So, an example of this, a friend of mine completely betrayed me. Um, I told them that, I have this stalker. They're a bit crazy. They're very obsessed with me romantically. They've ingratiated themselves with every single friend I have to try and get details about me so they can press into my life more and more. And so, because I've been hanging out with you, I do know that this person is going to try and befriend you and try to dig for any information about me that they possibly can, how I feel about things, what I say about things, what I'm up to, how I feel about them, anything. They're grasping for any little crumb, right? So I just wanted to let you know as a little warning that they may try to be your friend and they may try to act like they care about you, but they don't. They're just trying to get information about me from you, and I'm really sorry if that happens, but now you know. All I ask, now that I've told you about this, don't tell them that I've said this, because that counts as a crumb and it will ignite more obsessive behavior in them. Just be aware, and even if you do like speak to them casually or whatever, just never mention me, never talk about me, okay? Because they're being very fucking weird. And he was like, "Oh, yeah, I'll never tell anyone. Thank you for trusting me enough to talk about this. I will keep an eye out. I'll be very aware of that." And then they immediately went and goes, "You never guess what Anita said about you." Immediately. That's what they did. They just dropped everything, rushed to tell them, right? And this person exploded into a hyper tantrum. And they like tried to do all these really sinister things to try and get back at me, really elaborate plans and all sorts. They were crazy. And then everyone noticed that they were crazy and kind of fizzled away from them and were like, oh, that is absolutely nuts. So it kind of backfired for the person who, the stalker person. But like, anyway, that whole situation, I was like, fuck, that was so bad. You acted like I could trust you. You acted like you agreed not to tell them, and you told them, and they did exactly what I told you they would do, right? Why the fuck did you do that? And they were like, yeah, I'm so sorry. I guess I just wanted both sides of the story. And it's like, yeah, but you acted like you believed me and you promised you wouldn't say anything. But you did say something and you caused an episode. And they went nuts. That was exactly what we were trying to avoid. Can you see why I said all the things to you now? And they're like, yes, what you said was very valid. Your approach was very valid. I was just being dumb. And like, they were like, can we still be friends? Can we still be friends? And I turned to them and I went, I'm not going to answer that now because I'm angry. I'll answer that when I'm calm so I can be fair. And I still decided not to be friends with them in the end. But I did that knowing it was the right decision and not something I did on impulse. And so, like, I've learned not to act in anger, to notice my anger, and to notice that, the thing with anger and the way that it works is that the way it changes your brain activity and your blood flow and all of these sorts of things, the cortisol spikes, all of it make you less able to think about intricate details. The whole purpose of anger is to get you out of a situation and protect you. It doesn't care at any cost. It will fuck you up. It will fuck you over in the future. That's a future problem. It's just carrying you through the now. And if you want to make decisions that are good for your future and your present, you have to let that anger pass before you make them. Just Eric says, I have a question and it's sad, but how do I cope with my dad recently passing and my mother having stage 4 cancer? It's been hard for me, to be honest. I've actually been in your exact position. I'm so sorry you're going through that. I really am. My dad died very suddenly of a heart attack caused by kidney failure when like a month or two before my mom died. She had been dying slowly of cancer, and it was one of those situations where it took more and more and more away from her until she was in agony and a bag of bones and just completely it took everything from her from piece by piece essentially. And so while I had taken some time off of streaming to care for her, um I had just gotten home from, like, spending multiple days with her and spending hours traveling home, and then I got the news, very suddenly. Like, one of my relatives called in tears and just said, "He's dead." Um, and I had to deal with all of that, knowing that my mom was going to pass away soon too. Um, and it's really, really hard because death is a big chore. There are so many things you have to do when someone dies. You have to register their death, you have to file paperwork and all sorts, and people fight really heavily over what someone leaves behind. And then how do you deal with all of that in a timely manner and go and, like, buy a coffin and go to a graveyard, find a plot, like, buy the plot, these sorts of things. How do you do all of that? And there's endless tasks. Pick an outfit for them to be buried in, these sorts of things. Sometimes there's, like, a week where people go to view the body too. All these things. It's just endless, endless, endless. How are you supposed to do all that while you and be there for someone who it has cancer? Because it quite often falls to you. Like, I'm an only child. If you have siblings, maybe this will be easier for you. But fuck, it's so much. And what I decided was that, both need my attention and I will work on both, essentially. Um, but I will try to make that not affect the one that's living, as much as I can. Because, I can't hurt someone who's already dead, but, there is someone who still needs me. Yeah. And it is a lot. I would really recommend therapy. I got a therapist for the entire year that I was going through all of that. I got a therapist, so I could vent without it affecting my mom, or my dad's family. That was really, really important, and I think it was a total lifeline. I think I would have been an absolute fucking mess if it wasn't for that. So really, really do. Mine was online. I was getting online sessions, so I didn't have to go anywhere, which took a little bit of the extra time and effort off of me. Really, really good investment. And play Tetris, especially if this is traumatizing you, because studies show that Tetris helps reduce the symptoms of PTSD later down the line. So if you're being traumatized by something really fucking hard and upsetting, playing Tetris during the period while this is all going on helps your brain reorder, strangely, passively while you're playing. Your brain will reorder, reconfigure the information and the experiences in a way that impacts you mentally less down the line. Because helping someone through cancer is traumatizing. It is traumatizing. Um, Watching someone be in more and more pain and not being able to do anything for them. And also the guilt of surviving and carrying on with life and seeing the world continue like nothing just happened after the most devastating and agonizing thing imaginable happens to someone important to you is going to leave an incredibly profound impact on you. Also, it's going to be very, very hard if you are watching them suffer because they will change, their body will change, their face will change, their voice will change, their energy levels will change, and all of these things mean that your brain is going to be traumatized by losing your parents before they're even gone, because the person who dies is, and who is dying is quite often a completely different person as well in so many different ways. And that can be a trauma. To lose someone in slow motion, it can be such a fucking deep trauma. And like, you could also feel guilty about trying to take care of yourself during this time because you don't have cancer, because you're not dying as well. And this can worsen the damage for you and also mean that you show up less for the person that you're trying to help. So I really do recommend get therapy, get someone to talk to about this who's a professional, because your friends and family may not have the best answers or the most healthy answers. That's gonna be really hard to lose your parents in your 30s too. I feel like it doesn't matter what age you are, losing your parents is hard. It also doesn't really matter how close you were to your parents. It's still gonna be hard. It's just gonna be hard for different reasons. Mystery Man, thanks for the super chat. What a strange time for me to come in. I had to put my senior cat down this week. I'm so sorry. I mean, I think it's a blessing to have a cat that gets to get to old age with you. You know, so many cats get taken so young, but they had a long and happy life with you. I guess all love is a debt you pay in pain because one day you will have to pay up and agonize for anyone you ever love, you know, because you will lose everyone you ever love. It's still worth it, but that's how it is. And I know I'll lose my pets, but it's worth crying for them one day to have them now. That's just the debt you pay. Yeah, all love is a debt and it's worth paying. The interest is pretty cheap when you think about it because you only have to suffer for a little while compared to all the time you got to love them, you know? Hey, Blind Warriors Ven, thank you so much for the raid. Hello, everyone. So, you know, if you have never heard of Tourette syndrome, now would be a good time to Google it. I do have Tourette's, so if I swear at you, I might not mean it. Damn right, it's worth it. Exactly. Also, by the way, Mert, thank you so much for hopping on and buying all of those nice things. I recently put a new panel. You can now buy treats and things for the bunnies. In my channel description on Twitch, there is now a link where you can buy gifts for the bunnies, and it will send it to me. The platform is designed to protect your personal details as well as mine. So I don't have to know anything about you, and you don't have to know anything about me to buy gifts for them. And anything that is bought for the bunnies, you will see on the stream at a future date, and you will get to watch the bunnies enjoy them. So if you get anything from there, just know that at some point on camera, the bunnies will be enjoying these things. I picked out things that they really, really love, or things that I've always wanted to get for them and have never gotten around to. Like, I've never gotten them a bunny birthday cake before. I've always wanted to, but I'm bad with timing and everything. So I gave you guys the opportunity to get one for them whenever you want. And also some toys that I've just been eyeing up a lot, but haven't gotten around to getting. So thank you so much. Yeah, they have carrot cake. The bunnies do have birthdays. Pete is in his is on Halloween, incidentally. The others are a bit more of a mystery. So yeah, it's just any time that month they get something special. We just estimate the month essentially. Mm. Uncle Crappy, thank you so much. Yeah, you take care of yourself too, sweetheart. Uh-uh. What's your thoughts on dating apps? I've recently been broken up and I've never really dated before. I've learned from my mistakes and want to do it right with a new person, but can't get anywhere. So I guess I'm the wrong person to ask because I'm not allowed on dating websites because they think that I'm just impersonating myself. But on top of that, even if I could access them, it wouldn't be my way of getting a hold of a new partner personally. I've never used dating websites to get a partner. I feel like they make you shop hungry and that while you're lonely, you are fishing around amongst other lonely people. Also, a lot of people on that platform aren't actually looking for a real date. They're looking for validation. So they get a lot of their emotional needs met by having people lust after them and engage with them and have conversations with them, but they have no intention of going on any actual dates, which can be really, really confusing and painful because most people don't admit to that when they're doing that. So you might talk to a bunch of people and it not really go anywhere and you might blame yourself, but it might not even be you. It could be you, but it could also be that you're talking to a bunch of people who are looking for validation and not actual relationships. So when it comes to that, I feel like it's not the easiest place to get a date. It's very rare. Some people have fallen in love. They've like gone on a dating website and married the person they found off the dating website. So you can make it work. It just takes a lot of persistence and also not taking things personally. If people don't want you or if it doesn't fit, that's okay. You're going to meet a lot of people, but they can't always be right for you. It's going to take a lot of sorting through to find somebody you genuinely click with. And I feel like these conversations, if you're a smart person, you will learn from every conversation and handle it a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better each time. And by that, I don't mean be more charismatic, know just what to say. I feel like relaxing and actually being yourself in these messages is really, really hard. Just be yourself is a hard thing to actually articulate to people. And by that, I mean relax, talk to them like they are an old friend, even if they're not. And by that, I don't mean like role play as if they're an old friend. Be like, hello, Bill. And they're like, my name is Sally. And it's like, lovely to see you last weekend. And she's like, we've never met before. This is the first time we're talking. I love your dog. I don't mean pretend you've known them for years and make up shit about them. I mean like treat them like someone you already know. Treat them like someone you've known for 10 or 20 years. I mean like, but how you doing? Have you got any pets? I love my pets. My pets are like my world. I have this pet and that pet. What about you? And then if they're like, I have this pet and that pet, be like, I've never had one of those. How'd you take care of them? They're so beautiful. And be like, yeah, that I feel like my pets are a lot of what I do with my time. What about you? And they're like, well, I do XYZ. Like you have a normal conversation, not a I'm trying to seduce you conversation, because the truth of the matter is when you're dating someone, you're not trying to seduce them. You're finding out whether you're compatible. You're going, this is who I am, who are you? And then you show each other. And if you're really like that and feel addicted to the presence of someone like that, you'll want to see them again. And you can spend more time with them and more time with them because you want to, not because you're lonely, not because you're trying to fill a vacuous, empty, like spiraling dark hole within yourself that you are unwilling to face or fill. And you are looking for somebody to fill that hole so you do not have to look at it in the corner of the room, swallowing up everything with its emptiness. Like, because some people use relationships as a way to avoid personal growth. And like, but if you are like genuinely just like, I've got some free time and energy, and I would like to just give that to someone else, I don't want to put all of it into hobbies. I've just got some overspill, I'm happy, I'm secure, I'm not looking for validation from anyone. I've just got some time and would love to give it to somebody. Like, that is a good place. Not going, help me, I'm lonely and I don't want to be in this bed alone with myself, because that is avoidance. You are avoiding you, right? And that's a bad reason to get into a relationship. And the problem with dating websites is that they often are populated heavily by people who are avoiding themselves. And I feel like that is very, very concerning. Being legitimately interested is important. People pretending to care is also not great on the long run. Oh yeah, but I feel like um asking questions is not necessarily pretending to care, is it? Asking questions is just like finding out who this person is, which is important. I feel like they're almost designed for people to stay single based on everything you're saying. Oh yeah, I mean, you should never trust business models who stand to benefit from screwing you over. So like there are shampoo companies that deliberately incorporate stuff that makes you lose your hair so that you'll buy more of their product. That's been proven. There's been lawsuits, right? There are dating websites who benefit more if you never find a partner, because then you're on the dating website more. Not interest, what is it called? Insurance companies. They only really win or benefit and can only have a functioning business if you pay more to them than they ever pay to you, right? So their hope is that you pay them and never need them, and that way they never have to give anything back. And if you ever file a claim, then they've made a loss on you. So they will try and find loopholes to not pay you the money they promised and the whole point of the service, right? They actually do better as a business if they screw you, right? So in some situations, it's better to have savings than insurance, because your bank isn't going to make excuses not to give you back your money, right? So of course, dating websites are a little bit risky because algorithmically, some of them will definitely, definitely not want to get you a partner, even though that's the point of them. Kind of sucks. Oh, yeah, that's an unfortunate business model for users. Yeah, of course. But there are loads of businesses skewed that way. Any advice on how to get through severe depression and not being able to leave the house? I've had your struggles with it and I relate, so I'm wondering how you got through it. Oh, that's a big thing. I think I need to revamp my video on how I got past my depression because I haven't seen it in years and I don't think it's really adequate and I think I could probably do a lot better. But there were so many aspects to it. I took a multi-tier approach to my depression and agoraphobia because I spent 4 years without leaving the house. So like I had to get through OCD and severe agoraphobia and severe lifelong depression to have the life that I have now. So all I'm going to say is that it is possible. I'd recommend go get a therapist who specializes in depression, especially. If the first one doesn't work out with you after about 6 months and you're not feeling like you made progress, find a new one after about 6 months. Um, because most people do not find the therapist who helps them the first time they get a therapist. Usually it takes a few tries. Um, Work on your health whilst you're working on your mind and your environment. It's a three-tier system. Oh, yeah, and your mindset. So you're going to have to work on your philosophy and your approach to everything internally. You're going to have to work on exercising, eating right, and you're going to have to work on progressing your career or your relationships or your connections with people because you're going to have to build a world you could be happy in too. Where's your bunny? He's literally right underneath me. He's like spread out and sprawled, enjoying laying underneath my desk right now. If you want to have a look, here he is. Look at his little feet. He's facing away from the camera right now. So those two little white balls whoop, are actually just the bases of his feet. Is he napping right now? No, he's just sitting. He was asleep all day. Oh, if we buy gifts, does that mean we get bunny feet pictures? Listen, I'm not going to be making no live nude bunnies website. No only buns. You just get to see them enjoy the treats. If that's not enough for you, that's fine. You do not have to simp for my rabbits if you don't want to, but I will not be soliciting them in return, I'm afraid. Tasty goblin, thank you so much. Any tips for addicts for gambling and stupid shit that 100% makes you lose it all? Anything could be an addiction. You need to understand the psychology of addiction. There are many books for people who've gone through addiction and come out the other side. There are books written by therapists, psychologists, and sufferers as well. There are so many resources. There are YouTube videos. Take those with a pinch of salt, though, and always do your research. Because understanding how your brain works can really help you to develop habits to get out of bad patterns. So if a lot of people stigmatize gambling is like when you just can't make good decisions and you just do stupid shit. And people really persecute and judge people who have gambling issues. But gambling, like not just gambling, any addiction, there's a genetic component to addiction. And for some people, it's when they don't produce the same level of dopamine as everybody else. And when you don't, like movement is harder. Not just like the will to get up and move around, like your brain needs dopamine to control your movement. People with Tourette syndrome produce too much dopamine. And that is part of the reason why they have tics. But people who have, say, Parkinson's, people with Parkinson's disease, they have dopamine regulation issues. I think is that also too much dopamine? I think it's excessive dopamine. People with next to none cannot move. There are people in wheelchairs having that can't use their legs because their legs work fine, but they don't have enough dopamine to stand. Like, there's so many other aspects that your body uses dopamine for than just pleasure or motivation. It plays an essential component in a lot of bodily functions. Your sex drive, your appetite, your ability to eat and reproduce is also tied to your dopamine levels. There are so many bodily functions. Sleep. You can't sleep properly without regulated dopamine. So people who don't have regulated dopamine and they try gambling or they try drinking or they try eating something really tasty and sweet. And it gives them this rush of dopamine. For the first time in their lives, they have about as much dopamine as everybody else is functioning on. Right? And for the first time, their body feels normal and goes, "Oh my god, we need so much more of this." And so for some people, a random little thing makes them feel functional. And so you'll get people who need to have like 3 bottles of wine to go to work, to get up and do the chores, because without it, they can't. And that's one type of addiction. Another is you can genetically have a predisposition to just get addicted to things. That we found in mice. We gave mice the ability to drink water or loads of alcohol, and most mice don't like alcohol. It tastes like shit. But some mice were drinking it, and an even smaller cohort of mice were drinking so much that they drank themselves to death. And those mice had a gene in common, and we have that gene too. So it's not about you just not being as good at resisting things as everybody else. And the more you understand about it, doesn't have to make you a helpless little, like, passive passenger to this whole issue. It doesn't mean that you have to, well, I'm fucked and I'm just destined forever to be addict. What an addict. What can I do? Just designed this way. What can I do? No, I'm saying like the more you understand it, the easier it is to battle. Okay? If you're like, why is your brain doing this to me? How is it doing this to me? Like what are the stages to break out of that? Like it's easier if you know what's going on. And if you remove the shame from it, then it gets easier as well. So hopefully that helps. But yeah, definitely there have been so many people who've successfully gone along the road that you are on right now and have come out the other side a better person, a happier person, a more functional person than ever before. And that could be you too. And you're in the best position ever in the world. It's now the easiest time ever, ever, ever to get support, to understand your brain, to understand what's going on, to see other people and follow their journeys, all of it, because we never had the internet before. And we never had free, accurate information before, and access to studies. And like most of the world didn't even have access to books or a library for most of the existence of humanity. Most people couldn't fucking read. And like now, you not only can you read, but you can teleport all the information you want to a little magic stone while you're taking a shit or just before you're lying in, like before you fall asleep and you're lying in bed. You don't even have to try. You could get all this information and support. So go and capitalize on that, you lucky bitch, because you are just the tiniest slither, the infinitesimally small part of the human population that has ever had access to this ever in all of human history. Don't waste it. And lose point of view. Hello, I'm anxious and avoidant, and I ruined my chance. Oh, I'm sorry, that sucks. There will be many more chances. And being anxious and avoidant doesn't have to be a life sentence. I used to have terrible fucking anxiety. I was medically diagnosed with a social phobia when I was like a tiny little kid. So I know what it is to be anxious. And ADHD makes people avoidant, very, very avoidant. I have severe ADHD. So I know how it feels to be in both of those situations. And I've broken out of a lot of it. And I have a really good life now. But it took a lot of missed opportunities and lessons to get there. You'll be okay. It was a joke to make you laugh. I don't know what you said. Which one was you? Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I get it. I get it. I totally get it. Anita and chat, thanks. I've got free time and want to put that towards new people. I'm not sexually driven, just want a partner in crime to enjoy life. That is awesome. You're in the best position ever to find a partner, by the way, and I believe in you. It'll happen when it happens. I personally don't use dating apps though. If I just go about my life and enjoy my life for me, and if I find someone along the way and we really click, then I will let them be in part of my life. But I feel like those bonds are better and much more genuine when they happen by accident and just passively than when you actually look for them. How do you feel about trying to cure people with aggressive chemo, etc., versus heightened risk of cancer return? My mom, who is in her 70s, is being taken off chemo because two types they've tried made her so sick she had to go to the hospital. Ah, thank you, Simon. I'll read your message in a second. I would say, like, I am not an expert on cancer or a doctor. I'm a streamer. It would be incredibly dangerous, stupid, arrogant, and assholish of me to say what your grandma should do with her time and with her existence, you know, with your mom, even. Like, your mom should do what the people who are paid and are serious experts in this situation to do. Like, what we forget is that a lot of these doctors see many, 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 many cancer patients. They see people live with it, die with it, get treated with it every single day. That's their whole world. No one is more qualified to deal with it than them. And I, unfortunately, have seen many people with cancer drop out for because of misinformation. I think the only reason why you should be dropping out is because it is the best thing for you, the safest thing for you. And sometimes that is a quality of life issue too. Like, if there's a likelihood that the cancer will be really aggressive and that there isn't a high survival rate, some people opt for no treatment or less aggressive treatments because they'd rather have quality of life than quantity. And that is entirely their personal choice. And nobody else gets to weigh in and go, no, you have to suffer because I want you to. It's their body, it's their choice. So if your 70-something-year-old mom wants to follow that advice from the doctor, then that's okay. If she doesn't want to follow that advice, she can get a second opinion from a different doctor. But I don't think it's anyone else's place to say. And it would be incredibly dangerous and life-threatening for anyone unqualified to fuck none, to fuck none, to to try and fuck, to try and fuck, to try and fuck your mum, to to try and advise otherwise. So there we go. Yeah, that's a good point, dude. Yeah, I fucking swear the people who keep saying that you can cure your cancer with like apricot pits and stuff, I feel like ugh, if you present that information to somebody and they die because of it, that you should be punished. Like, I wish you could give like actual jail time to people who spread medical information where the consequence can be death. Not only have I seen people try this on, I've literally listened to doctors sit there and explain that they have had people who are initially diagnosed with cancer go away and try natural remedies for a while before they commit to chemo. Then they come back and their early stage cancer that was had a very high survival rate has now turned into very late stage cancer with a very low survival rate. So they've tried all of these like herbal remedies and all these bullshit remedies, these stupid urban legends and rumors, right? And then they've spent so much time doing that and hoping to get better that they've waited and waited and got sicker and sicker and sicker. And then when they feel so sick and so desperate, they go to the doctor and go, okay, fine, I'm ready for chemo. And it's like, oh, well, now you have a 5% chance of surviving. And they die. So it makes me so fucking angry. I had tics being young, always been autistic. When ADHD kicked in, it stopped. And now I'm scared of it coming back sometimes. I mean, why fear things you can't control? There is a lot of things that could happen to you that are out of your control. Like someone could airdrop a hippo by accident outside your house the minute you leave the house, and you could be crushed to death by a falling, exploding hippo. For all you know, your house could be washed away in a flood. The place you go to work tomorrow could get bombed. You could get mugged on the way home. Like, there are loads of random things that could happen. Conditions that you had as a child may come back, may never haunt you again. But why overthink the things you can't control? And the worst case scenario is you will say fuck a few extra times, or sniff, or do whatever the fuck your tics were a few extra times a day. And that doesn't have to be some profound life ruining thing. If that's the only thing that goes wrong, then actually that's pretty mild. Most people with Tourette syndrome, it is a struggle. It does suck, but there's definitely a way to live and have a wonderful life alongside that condition. So I wouldn't worry about the things you can't control. If you can't do anything about it, there's no point thinking about it. You can deal with it when it comes. But if you worry about something, it doesn't stop the bad thing happening. It just increases the suffering because now you worried for ages too. So there are two options. You worry about it for ages and then nothing happens, and you wasted a bunch of your imagination on a scenario that was just pure suffering. You just suffered in your head for no reason, for ages, for no good reason. What the fuck? And if you imagined that it was going to happen and worried about it for ages, and then it happened, all that happened was you suffered for ages first, worrying about it, and then it happened. That's it. Those are your two options, and both are shit. So just go, yeah, it could happen, and get on with your life and think about something cooler, like, I don't know, unicorns or someone pretty's ass or something, titties. Think about like winning on Marvel Rivals or eating nice chocolate or, imagine all the cool shit you could do next summer if you plan ahead. Yeah. So just catch yourself on wasted worry because wasted worry is a misuse of your imagination. I'm an overthinker. Thanks for the advice. Hell yeah, Simon. I hope it helps. Yeah, overthinking is just you abusing yourself with your imagination. You could be doing anything with your imagination, and you're just torturing yourself with scenarios that may not even happen. I mean, I will prepare if I'm concerned about something, but I will not worry about it because I used to worry too much. So now I identify, is this a worry? Yes. Is there anything I can do to reduce the risk of the bad thing happening? No. Then I'm just going to think about something else. If I can reduce the likelihood of something bad happening, I'll go do that. And then I'll stop thinking about it because I've done everything I can do and that's all that can be done. Be prepared, not scared. Move on. So if I was like, oh, what if I get Tourette's sometime in the future? That is a thing that could happen to me. What if I get tics? I could research it and be like, what causes autistic tics? How to reduce autistic tics? Okay, boom. I'm as ready as I can be. Moving on. Time to go play some games. Ah, thanks, Quirky. Living in the past produces regret. Living in the future causes worry. I choose to live here in the present. I feel like, yes. I feel like an equal measure of all three is meant to be healthy. It's when it's imbalanced that's the problem. You should learn from your past. You should carry lessons from there. You should look forward to your future and build it in the present. I feel like not being aware of your future might fuck you over, right? Because that's the difference between spending all your money now and saving for retirement, for example. That has real world consequences. I think that it's not about just living in the present all the time, it's about finding a beautiful mental balance where you have a good relationship with all three. Remember the past, live in the present, but still plan ahead. Exactly. I like that one. I feel like I live by that one a bit more, or try. Oh my god, thank you so much for the 20, Pharaoh. Just wanted to say I've been a fan for a long time and watching you and your journey has brightened my days. Hey, thank you. You legend. I appreciate that. I start when I speak. Since you have tics, are there any solutions? Because tics are similar to starting. The less you worry about it, the better your life will be. So I have a friend who has a stutter, and I do not give two fucks that he has a stutter. He can take 5 hours to say what he has to say, or a second to say what he has to say, and I will still be here and I will still be waiting, you know? And I already know he has a stutter, and I agreed to be his friend and to listen to what he has to say. And sometimes, if I don't understand him or my attention is wavering, I'll ask him to repeat himself. But I'm still interested and I'm still like ready to wait because what he has to say is worth the wait. And so, like, he's just made friends that know he has a stutter and still love to have him around regardless. And I feel like that is better than trying to edit yourself or change yourself or try to hold it in or try to stop yourself from doing something that you do passively because stutters are quite often triggered by stress. So the more you stress about not stuttering, the more you're gonna fucking stutter. The more shame you have about it, the more you don't want people to see it, the more it's gonna become evident, the more it's gonna manifest. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. To worry about your stutter is to stutter more. So one of the best medications for stuttering is to not give a shit if you do. Is to be like, yep, might take me ages, might take me a second, but either way I'm getting my coffee. Either way they're gonna know my order. How much time it takes for them to know my order is out of my control, but it doesn't really matter if I stutter. They're not going to judge me. They're not going to be angry at me. The world is going to move on. I'm sure that the barista has met many people with a stutter. It doesn't matter. Anyone who's an ass to me is immediately in the wrong because I did not choose to stutter. So it's not my problem how other people feel about it. I'm not responsible for that because it's not my choice to stutter. And the more you just relax and go, yep, I'm just going to exist anyway. I'm just going to talk anyway. I'm just going to do stuff anyway. Eventually, the stress from it can reduce because you realize that you do not have to change yourself. You don't have to stress. You don't have to hold it in. You don't have to hide it, apologize for it. None of it. You don't. How do I get doctors to listen to my problems? So it depends on what problem you're facing and what gender you are. But I also second opinions if you're banging your head against a wall. But there are usually, I don't think that Reddit is right about everything. I don't think that you should just base your life on Reddit comments. Fucking God forbid. But sometimes collective wisdom is hella wise. And sometimes if you go on a subreddit for people suffering with your condition, you can get life hacks. Absolutely. Like when I joined a group for people who have Tourette syndrome, I learned that if you want a diagnosis, even if you're an adult, you should go to a pediatrician because adult doctors don't know very much about Tourette syndrome compared to pediatricians. And pediatricians who specialize in Tourette syndrome are more likely to make exceptions for adults because they know it's hard to talk to a grown-up doctor about it. Yeah. I also learned when I went through my hair loss, that minoxidil is incredibly, incredibly effective for hair loss. And I saw loads and loads of people posting their results after being on these medications for ages. And then I saw them talk about how they got on the medications and how to get it taken seriously. I'd been dealing with hair loss for many, many years, and they would just shrug, keep doing blood tests over again, the same blood tests, and then not do anything else. And so, like, I spent a few days on Reddit and made more progress with my hair loss than I had in like 5, 6, 7 years before with the doctors. So sometimes finding groups of people who are experiencing what you're experiencing is exactly where you need to go. Apparently, rosemary oil is great for hair loss too. Okay, so I wish that was true. I actually tried rosemary hair oil because of this, because it kept getting recommended. It's actually just a marketing scam. A lot of people get what is it? Seborrheic dermatitis from using rosemary oil because heavy oils, even if it's just your skin oils, any heavy oils, doesn't matter whether they're organic or herbal or not, any heavy oils can quite often cause a certain type of, I think it's yeast, to grow on your skin, and it's really hard to get rid of once it grows and once it starts. And so loads of people get this really thick, greasy, nasty dandruff that won't go away, that speeds up their hair loss when they try rosemary oil, unfortunately. Um, Yeah, and so my solution to that was like, fine, I'll make rosemary water. And I used to soak rosemary in water in the fridge and then spray that on my hair. And it was non-greasy as well, which was really handy. It had no effect. I did it for a couple of years and it did nothing. Nothing. But also, there's a specific brand of rosemary oil that is heavy, heavy marketing, really heavy marketing. And like loads of people in a wave bought it and it did nothing for most of them. Like, I don't know anyone who has used the rosemary oil and been like, look at how much it fixed my hair, except the people who are trying to sell it to you on like TikTok shop or whatever, right? So unfortunately, my opinion on rosemary oil at this point is it's just a scam, dude. It doesn't work. Ah, hey, Saffron, thank you so much. Well, it's too late now. I've read the message. But any advice on for liking someone and wanting to make the first move, but not wanting to risk making it awkward, especially when we share several friend groups? Okay, the first thing is, the main reason anyone ever gets turned down or makes it awkward is because they do not gauge whether the other person is interested in them before they make a move. Okay, so you shouldn't be making a move to find out how someone feels about you. You should be making a move because you know how they feel about you. That is why that is the difference between a 0% success rate and a 100% success rate. Because not everybody's going to be interested in you, but you're only going to hit on the people who are if you develop these basic social skills, okay? So some of the social cues that will insinuate that somebody likes you back is if they flirt back. If you compliment them, they compliment you. Do they want to hang out with just you and them? So if you invite them to your house to play computer games alone without the friend group, do they want to come? Do they enjoy it? Do they ask to come again? Do they invite you around sometimes? These sorts of things. When everyone's laughing in the friend group, do they look at you first to see if you were laughing? When we laugh, we tend to make eye contact with the person that we are most attracted to or emotionally interested in. So like if it's with your family, obviously you don't want to fuck Uncle Dave, but like if Uncle Dave is the one you respect the most or want the most approval from or want to hang out with the most or like the most out of the group, you will look and see how Uncle Dave, is how they feel about it if they're laughing, right? So it's not doesn't have to be a romantic thing, but the person you feel strongest about, you will make eye contact with them first when you laugh. So if when you laugh, look at your crush. Are they looking at you first before everybody else? Look at them subtly. Don't be like, ha 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 ha. Because of course they're gonna look at you first then. That's a false positive. Now you're just being weird. Of course they're gonna be like, what? Right? Um, so what you do is you laugh, and if you can use your peripheral vision, don't look directly at them. But notice where their eyes point. Also, people they point their knees towards the person in the room that they are most attracted to. That's like a casual thing that can be an indicator. There are loads of little indicators that like that. Just someone laughing at your joke, that just means you're funny. It doesn't mean they're attracted to you. If they smile at you and laugh a lot, it's because you're socializing with them. That's not actually proof that someone's into you. It's really unfortunate that people keep saying if she's smiling, if she's laughing, she likes you. No, it doesn't mean that. I'm sorry. Um, so yeah, these are my little chunks of advice. You need to gauge if the vibe is reciprocated, and you need to push past your bias. Because if you're in love with someone or you like someone, you're gonna wish that they liked you back, and it's gonna make you a little bit delulu and see signs that aren't there. So you have to be a bit more objective about it, okay? And if you're feeling a little bit risky, you can always ask your mutual friends if they like you. So if you've got lots of mutual friends, be like, hey, does Sally ever talk about me? Do you think she likes me? Please do not tell her I asked this, but do you think she likes me? And that can be very helpful because usually when you like someone, everyone else in the room knows before you do because it's obvious. I feel like body language is going the way of Latin, almost a dead language in this manosphere culture. I feel like a lot of body language is involuntary and instinctive. So I feel like the body language is there. It's just that a lot of guys are not learning it. And if you learn it, then you never have to be turned down again because you can just not ask people out who are blatantly not interested. Because one of the biggest, blarest signs that a woman isn't interested in you is if you flirt with her and she just doesn't respond and doesn't give a fuck and goes, "That's nice," and walks away. Right? Because, and it's something that women do because saying outright, "By the way, I'd never fuck you." Like, if you're like, "Haha, that was so funny, right, Casey?" And she just turns to you, "I would never fuck you, by the way," and walks away, or "I'm not interested," right? Most guys would be really hurt and turn it on her, but "I wasn't into you anyway," and explode and be really annoyed with that response. So women can't be very direct when they sense you are into them. So their way of saying no is to just not respond, to not engage with it when you flirt. When you do something romantic, like give them some gifts, be like, "Ah, thanks. You're a really good friend. I see you like a brother. Bye." You know? And that's a no. That is polite no. Hey, Pillow, thank you so much for the love. And Raccoon King, thanks for the 25 fucking gifties. Holy shit. I don't know if I thanked you, but thank you, thank you, thank you. That's so good. I appreciate it. Raccoon King says, "I have ADHD, and I don't know if that's why, but I have a really hard time having routines or getting things done. I procrastinate a lot. You know anything that could help me other than writing things down?" Okay, so there is a YouTube channel called How to Hit ADHD, and she has made some really, really good videos about how to manage yourself and take care of yourself. She's actually like one of the prominent voices in ADHD management, and she's really helped me with a lot of things, right? But some days I feel like ADHD operates on a cycle, and you are gonna have especially bad days. And what I'm learning from those days where I just cannot function, cannot organize myself, can't get anything done, spend like 3 hours trying to do one basic task, getting distracted, doing 10% of 7 different tasks across the house, but not completing any of them, that sort of thing, then I just go, fuck, it's one of those days. And I just stop trying to do anything. I ignore the list, ignore everything I'm supposed to be getting up to, because my ADHD brain is looking for something to do, but it's only going to do what it's interested in today. So what I do on those days, and they come in a cycle, it's inevitable, I'll have a few of them, is I'll just not do anything, and then I'll just sit there, let my brain get bored, not scroll, not game, not anything, just let my brain get bored, and my brain will look around for stimulation, and it'll go lock on a task, and maybe it isn't the task I'm supposed to be getting done. But it is a task, and it is technically productive, so I'm just gonna let my ADHD latch onto it for today. Are we gonna organize my entire bedroom for no good reason? Sure. Are we gonna suddenly measure all of my windows and order new curtains out of the blue? Yeah, sure. We gonna go on a massive, massive walk to some place I've kept meaning to go for years and not gone? Yeah, sure, fuck it. Like, my brain will just conjure something to do, and worst case scenario, I get exercise. Or I reorder something. And, like, maybe it's gaming, but I'm lucky because I based my life around my ADHD, so if I game, I'm just training for the next tournament. I've made a lot of money gaming, so, oh no, I got better at the game for a day or two, right? But the thing is, I have to accept those days because A, I don't have any medication yet. I do want to get on medication, but it hasn't been organized yet. And B, because at a certain point in my cycle, my estrogen drops. So I'm in that cycle right now. I'm in my ADHD non-functional days where my ADHD escalates exponentially and I'm shit at everything. I'm a shit show. And it's because my estrogen before my period plummets. Um, and estrogen and dopamine are connected. So when women go through their menopause, they get really, really scatterbrained if they have ADHD. And so yeah, I'm inevitably every single month gonna have some bad ADHD days, like a 2 or 3 of them at least, where I can't get anything done. And I could sit there and I could be like, oh fuck, it's gonna take me 7 hours to answer this message. Because I'm gonna go to reply and I'm gonna accidentally scroll on my phone for hours. And then I'm gonna put my phone down and move into another room and try to do it on my laptop and find a YouTube video. Or on the way to another room, I'm gonna find a bunch of laundry and start doing that, and then get distracted when I take upstairs by another thing, by another thing. I could go through that bullshit, or I could just do what my brain is really craving to do. And let that be the productiveness I do today. Because working with my ADHD has made me insanely productive, but it has also made me better off financially and more successful. Because ADHD motivates you. It gives you this impenetrable drive to do something, usually for a short burst. So if you're having a bad ADHD day, lean into it. Is my advice. Lean in. And if you and your ADHD love doing a specific thing and you've been doing it for years and you can't help but do it, maybe that's what your job's meant to be doing, buddy. So that whenever you have these days, it's not failing anymore. What's your favorite thing to do for ADHD? Exercise. So if you struggle to switch on, wake up first thing in the morning and you're laying in bed scrolling for ages, what works better than caffeine is movement for an ADHD brain. I promise you it works better than caffeine. Movement. So if you're laying in bed and you're really struggling to drag yourself out of bed for ages, wiggle your toes, move your knees, swing your knees from side to side, wiggle your fingers. This movement changes you neurochemically in a way that motivates you and switches you on. If you're the kind of person who sits there and you're just like, you feel hungover till you get your first coffee and you're just like, bah, and you're just not switched on, the movement will do it. So once you've gotten yourself out of bed, get a little bit more movement. If you can walk on a treadmill for like 5 minutes, it's just 5 minutes. Goes even faster if you watch a little video while you do it. Yeah, do a little thing. If you can't like get some exercise equipment involved, just jump on the spot. Do a little run on the spot for like 30 seconds. It will switch you on like nothing. It's so fucking effective. Also, put a little basket on the stairs. So if you want to put something on the floor or put it in a clutter area, put a basket in the clutter area. And then once that basket is full, you just grab it and spend 5 minutes putting everything in the basket where it should be. So that things don't just get messy and build up everywhere. And so find a hot area. Like I would dump a load of stuff on the stairs, sometimes a pile of laundry or sometimes just things that I had in my hand when I was coming home from wherever I've been. And it's like, I'll just put my keys there. I'll just put my junk there, the things that I brought from my trip there, and I'll put them away later. And I don't put it away later. So I put a basket on the stairs. You know, put a basket where you dump stuff the most. If your laundry ends up on the floor in this exact spot, that's a laundry basket spot, right? If some of it's rewearable, have a second basket of rewearables so that the stuff doesn't wait on the floor till you wear it again. These things, notice your drop zones. Crazy Bear, thank you so much for the prime. I appreciate it, hun. And Omar, thanks for the Taco Bell. That I have no idea what that means, but thank you. Someone said, "What's your opinion on smoking?" I feel like doing it around other people is cruel because you're forcing them to passively smoke and it's kind of a useless thing. But it's your right to do whatever the fuck you want to your body. So like if existing longer doesn't mean as much to you as your luxuries, I'm not going to judge you for your luxuries. We all damage our bodies in needless ways. Sugar is needless damage. There's so many things that are needless damage, right? Just sitting too long is needless damage. Not sleeping enough is needless damage. I'm not going to jump on people's balls about every last thing they do that gives them tick damage, you know? And so if you're stood there smoking, it's like -1 HP, -1 HP, -1 HP. As you're doing that, I'm not going to judge you for that because your quality of life and the things you're willing to sacrifice your health for are a tailored right of your own. I'm willing to sacrifice my health for a monthly glass of ginger wine and a few chocolate bars during my period. I'm willing to take some damage for that. I would rather have that in my life for the rest of my life than live an extra 5, 10 years. So I think it's fine to make those choices. I can hear someone binking around. I think it's fine to make those choices. I think it's important to make those choices. And if smoking is one of those for you, I'm not going to judge you. Personally, though, I don't really want to smoke. And I kind of feel like most people do start smoking to impress others and then just can't stop. I feel like that's most of it. Nobody usually goes, "Ah, today sucks. You know what I'm gonna do about it? I'm gonna try smoking." Usually it's something that people do as kids to look cool, and then they're like, "Oh, fuck, now I can't stop." So for me, it's not really something I'm interested in doing, and it's not something I'd recommend to other people. But I understand when people have unhealthy habits. All I ask is you don't impact anyone else with it. And don't put your stinky ass fucking cigarette butts on the floor. Don't don't litter with them because they're full of nasty toxins. And when it rains, they soak into the water and run into the earth and into the plants and into the animals, and it causes really nasty, poisonous pollution. Like cigarette butts are incredibly toxic for the environment. So please, like, put them in the bin where they're buried in landfill. Please do not litter fucking cigarette butts. Is a tobacco field toxic too? I can't answer that for sure, but I'd imagine probably not because, like, I don't think it naturally has all the tar and toxins in that happen when it's made into a cigarette butt. But like every crop, every kind of crop is kind of a little bit toxic if it's sprayed with pesticides and it's a monocrop and there was deforestation to create the land and all the rest of it to grow. Like, I feel like every crop can be negative, but no more or less usually than just like a crop of corn. I don't think that's the issue with it being pollutive, so to be honest with you. Oh my god, lion bars. You made me forget about lion bars. Marshall, so I've been vegan for quite a while, but back when I was vegetarian, I discovered lion bars and I fucking loved them. And I completely forgot about them till you just said that. Oh my god. Holy shit. Yeah, I haven't had one of those since I was like 16. Pharaoh, thank you so much for the super chat. But yeah, like for me at the moment, I think it's probably a butter kissed nougat bar, which is basically just exactly like a Mars bar, to be honest with you. Um, what other ones do I like? Fuck, I've forgotten all chocolate bars because you asked. But I eat a lot of chocolate bars. Galaxy does a nice chocolate caramel one. The buttermilk, not butter kissed. Oh, my bad. I'm bad with names. Beige Beige is pretty good, yeah. And Vigo bars are nice. Vigo bars are fucking chunky. They're like a brick. You get so much chocolate, they're like that thick. You break off a piece and it's like that tall and that thick when you turn it to the side. It's like more than you could reasonably put in your mouth at once. You break off one square and it's like a whole chocolate bar in and of itself. It's ridiculous. Craig, thanks for the biddies. Your boy Mojo says, I don't know if you'll see my message at all, but I want you to know that you're an amazing person. And I have been a long-time fan and admired the work that you've done. I especially loved when you went on the Sidemen real life Tinder. I was laughing so hard because of you. Thank you for being you, and I hope you never change. Thank you. That's so fucking wholesome. I've been on Sidemen Tinder quite a few times, and they've always been really, really nice to me. The more recent one that I did, I got to hit on people, and it made me understand everything so much more because I would just turn up and this row of men would hit on me, just saying the most diabolical things ever. But I never really looked into why they were saying these diabolical things. I just know it was all part of the gag, right? And now I understand how it all works because I've done it. I've had to read out those terrible lines. And my god, it takes so much courage. Newfound respect for everyone who's ever been on Sidemen Tinder and had to read out those terrible, terrible pickup lines. They are horrendous. Ah, thank you so much. I appreciate it, Craig. It says, what kind of chocolate bar, Yorkie? Ah, I'm gonna have to go through. I like Normo bars. Normo bars are legit, and they're relatively cheap too. So I like the caramel normal bars and the fruit and nut normal bars, and I like there were so many chocolates. There are loads of vegan galaxy bars that are different flavors that I fucking love. And there's this really creamy one I've forgotten the name of, but it's so good, and it's got like this hazelnut praline inside. But I've forgotten the name of it, and it's so sweet and rich. It's just oh, so good. Rhythm 108? Rhythm 108's okay, but that's not the one I'm thinking of. It's like it's a thin, flat bar that's like big, but I can't remember. Do you like ice cream? So I do, but I can't swallow it because I have a condition. So I immediately puke if I eat anything too cold or too hot. So like if I drink a drink, I have to wait till it's about room temperature or blood temperature before I can drink it. So I don't drink hot coffee. I drink warm coffee, lukewarm coffee or tea. Because anything else will immediately make me puke or choke. Um, and with ice cream, like, I have to really let it melt in my mouth, but usually it doesn't work and I still puke the ice cream, unfortunately. But I'll still give it a go. I mean, worst case scenario, like, I taste the ice cream twice, you know? But Hard Vem Tom says, "Hey, do you have any advice on feeling behind in life? I missed childhood and adolescence. It affected me in ways people don't get. I tried learning to ride a bike and people asked dumb questions and doubted me or looked at me weird. It makes me feel treated like a child. I'm so sorry you went through that, and I'm glad that you're going and reaching for things that you didn't get to do in childhood." Um, for me, I've never I'm in the same boat. Because I was a carer for my mom since childhood, and I was cooking for myself and looking out for myself, and was thoroughly neglected and didn't get to go to school for most of my school years. So I was sat at home with nothing to do, alone, with nobody, and that does steal your childhood in a lot of ways. And so I know exactly what it means to feel behind. I did learn eventually that everyone is moving at their own pace, and some people who did have loving parents still learn things really, really late, like why you shouldn't trust people or how to look out for yourself in a hazardous situation, these sorts of things. And so, like, you're never truly behind because humans all develop different skills at a completely wildly different pace. And so there is no finish line with humanhood. Like, there is no time where you complete humaning. Like, there is no time where you just become the wisest you could ever be, or the most successful you could ever be, the richest you could ever be, the most lovable you could ever be. Like, there is no point where you arrive, and so you can just collect skills at any point in the game. You can develop any part of your skill tree whenever you like, whenever you feel like it. It's like a game of Skyrim. Like, you could follow the main story right now, or you could do a few side quests. And which side quests you do, there's no deadline. You can do the side quest whenever the fuck you like. And so, seeing as riding a bike isn't a matter of survival, it is just a side quest. You could learn it when you're 80, and no one would care. People throwing snide comments or being weird about it, you just literally have to go, be excited about it. Be like, I'm finally getting to learn a bike at this age. I never got to before now because I had a rough childhood. But I'm so happy I get to be here now and do this finally. And usually if you frame it like that, people are like, "Oh my god, yay!" They're not like, "Oh, what are you, a fucking child?" Anyone who is like that, that's actually very, very rare. And if anybody is doing that, they are unlikable. Nobody likes them. Like, there is something wrong with them, right? And so it can be a filter for genuinely good people, because anyone who's got any level of sanity would be so fucking happy for you in that situation. Because it's kind of awesome that you get to finally do this thing that most people get to take for granted. And congrats on riding a bike, by the way. I'm happy for you too. I started learning chess at 25 years old. That's really good for your brain. I'm glad you're learning it. And like, as you get older, gaining new skills as you get older is really good for your brain and helps stave off dementia. So I plan to learn German at some point when I'm older, and how to play the piano and things like this. Probably a completely useless skill at the time I'm like in my 50s or whatever, because by then you could just probably think and an interface will just play any music you imagine for you or whatever. But like it would still be good to know how, just because it will exercise your brain in a way that keeps it alert and firm and able. Your pets will appreciate your piano playing. I don't know whether they will or not. We'll have to see. Also, I gave Pete some chimes and he liked to play on his little chimes, but now he's just gone about chewing all the strings and disconnecting all of them. So now he eats the chimes. Cats are little terrorists. Yeah, I kind of agree. I still want one though. I can't have one, but I still want one. I was gonna get one, but then I learned that the fly strike medication that you use during the summer to stop the maggots eating your pets to death is really dangerous to cats. So I'm like, oh, I don't know how I'm gonna get around that because my bunnies need the fly strike spray, so I can't just not do that. I hope your procedure goes well. Thank you so much, Siler. I appreciate that. I hope it goes well too. The bunnies would get maggots? Yeah, so, there's a condition called fly strike where flies lay eggs around the tail or base of an animal, and that hatches and the maggots wriggle round the bum of the animal and eat the animal to death from the bum outwards. It's a horrible way to go, and it's very slow and horrible and horrible, horrible, horrible. So you have to check their bums regularly in the summer, and you have to give them fly strike spray to prevent them from getting it. Sheep can get it too. Lots of animals can get it, but it's a huge risk for bunnies, so you have to do that. Do wild bunnies have this problem? They can do potentially. So usually if they become high risk if they have tummy troubles and they get wet tail. So if they have a lot of urine or poop sticking to their tail because they had like diarrhea or were sick for a little while, it can cause flies to lay eggs in around their tail, and then it's done. So how do you maintain the insanities of people? I don't. I don't feel like it's my job to maintain all of the insanity. I feel like that'd be a really big ask of anybody. I feel like I'm the least organized person in the world, so I feel like I would be the worst person to have to maintain all of this insanity. I don't know how you maintain it either. I How do you maintain people's sanity? Any advice for someone wanting to connect with a history of avoidance? I am in therapy, but it's slow. Um, So if you're avoidant, I think doing the slow therapy, understanding yourself is probably should take priority over any other mechanism you have in your repertoire. I mean, you can research avoidance and you can ask for good reading material to develop yourself from your therapist, but you can also just watch a bunch of YouTube videos about it and you can go on Reddits about it and stuff. There are loads of people in your boat. There is no unique experiences anymore. There are too many of us. So, like, you're going to find a huge group of people who've been through, have been in the stage that you are in right now. I promise. So, there are definitely, that's a good resource to look at, but like, with avoidance, if you rush it, you're gonna hurt somebody. There's no point rushing it at somebody else's expense. Like, people having to deal with an avoidant partner are miserable. It really hurts. It's really painful. It really sucks. So I feel like it's more important with conditions, with issues like that, to wait until you're ready, dude. Why do you believe therapy is still so stigmatized in the West? I don't know. I'm not really living in the circles and engaging with the circles that do stigmatize therapy. The only people I've ever really seen openly criticize therapy are dumbasses like Andrew Tate. Like I've seen the manosphere stigmatize it, but not very many other people, to be honest with you. So, like, I don't really know very many people that do stigmatize it. It's considered unmasculine, but it shouldn't be. Men have brains too. Brains need maintenance. It's not a gender thing to go to therapy. And women actually find it incredibly hot when you've gone to therapy. It's a good thing to have done to fix yourself and to take responsibility for the things you're doing and take proactive steps to work on yourself. Like, that is good. It's genuinely good. Genuinely do think that people are getting far more open-minded about therapy, which is good, genuinely good. Juliana, thank you so much for the prime. People who went to therapy is a green flag usually. Yeah, I've heard a lot of therapists say that the people who need therapy usually don't go and get it. It's usually the victims that do. There is a real trend of people who are not self-aware enough to work on themselves tend to hurt a bunch of people and never really do anything to change. How does one let go of a person you hold dearly, but you've come across crossroads on things like marriage and children? I'm hesitant in this case, not because I don't want those things with that person, but because my financial situation at this current time wouldn't be sustainable. Her stance is that it shouldn't matter about the monetization as long as you're in love. We've been apart for almost a year now, and I still wish to repair that bridge, but not change my stance. Help. I don't feel like, because what that question sounds like to me, only Diggins, is that I was with a girl who wanted to work on a schedule that I did not want to work on. We disagreed on essential life decisions. How do I force her to love me again, even though I'm clearly not going to do the thing that she needs from a relationship? And I think she's in the wrong personally. I think you should wait until you can responsibly, sustainably afford marriage and kids before you do them. I think that's like the bare minimum. I think she's in the wrong. But this is her choice. This is your choice. If she's like, either we have kids and marriage now or we break up, and you broke up over it, you don't change that. You don't do anything about that. You don't reconnect with somebody who's that irresponsible. You just don't. I think you're right to be apart. I think you are someone who has your head screwed on your shoulders and you want to make responsible decisions for yourself and for your future kids. You should be with someone who also wants to be responsible for themselves and for their kids. I feel like that's important. You should align on that. That should be the bare fucking minimum. Why the fuck do you want her back? This is exactly how it should have gone. You should get with somebody who is willing to make a nest before they lay eggs in it. Go find that person. Stop rummaging in the trash for things that you left behind for a reason. Do not reignite things with an ex because it reopens old wounds. But even if you got together and you got richer and it was like, yay, now it's finally time to have kids, she's irresponsible. And having kids with someone irresponsible is hell. And this isn't going to be the first deal breaker conversation with an irresponsible person because she's going to want to do irresponsible shit while you have kids. She's going to want to rush shit while you have kids. And that's going to be even fucking worse and you won't be able to get away. You made the right call. Revel in it. It's okay to miss someone that you shared your life with. Absolutely. It's normal. The fact that you're missing somebody that you broke up with does not mean you made the wrong decision. It makes you human. It means that you developed a bond, and bonds go deeper than just what makes sense. Okay? You can feel that bond still and miss her and be like, I'm sad that that went badly. And still know it was the right fucking decision. And that's where you should be. Look forward, not back. You're not going to find your future in the trash. Do not reopen old wounds and do not complicate your life. You left for a reason. You did the right thing. Uh-uh. I'm not a fan of kids. Yeah, me neither. But if I was going to have kids, I would not have kids with someone who rushed me. Thanks for the direct and polite honesty. It must be hard to move on. We had been together for 3 years, so it's one of those things where it's hard to let go. She was the one that ended, so obviously that's why I wrestle with it. I think she probably wrestles with it too, but I think it was still the right decision. It was absolutely the right decision. If she's like, "You're not doing things fast enough for me," it should have ended. Absolutely. Both of you should be ready for such huge things. And, someone who loved you would be willing to wait. But if she's on a short time schedule and it wasn't happening as fast as she wanted and she was willing to take some risks to do it as fast as she wants it, she should go with someone who's working on her time schedule. She should be speedy with another speedy person, you know? She needs to go date someone who's gonna Sonic through life. But even if she left, you came out better off for this. You should not be with someone like that. I have Tourette's. How do I get over the embarrassment in public? Because, bitch, you're gonna embarrass yourself in public even if you get cured tomorrow. Everyone embarrasses themselves in public. So that's not something you get to avoid. You're just gonna have a different reason why. There are people who fall over and do stupid shit, and there are some people who just make terrible decisions and embarrass themselves all the time. Everyone gets embarrassed just for different reasons. And so you don't get to choose whether or not you got embarrassed, and you don't get to lament the reasons why, because you would have been embarrassed either way. That is a human experience. So the first thing is, don't dwell on the fact that you embarrassed yourself. Because whether you had Tourette's or not, you had to be embarrassed. It's part of the storyline. It's part of the main quest. You don't get to avoid that to play this game. You don't get to skip that part, Unskippable turn-based event or whatever it is. Cutscene. Unskippable cutscene. So the next thing is, people will get to judge you either way. and people have very short memories. So people will see really weird shit when they're going to the pub or when they're at a shop, and they're gonna forget. The worst that's gonna happen is they're gonna go and talk to their missus when they get home over a packet of chips, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, you never guess what I saw. This random guy was shouting 'cock, cock, cock' all down the street." She's going, "I reckon he's one of them one of those people with Tourette's, you know. You ever heard of Tourette's? There's a show. There's people with on the documentaries. I've seen a documentary about Tourette's." He's like, "Yeah, I think it's that one. I forgot the name of it. But yeah, I think it was Tourette's." And he said cock, cock, cock over and over again, and it was really funny. And she'd be like, "Oh wow. Wow, that must have been really awkward for him." And then that's it. Then they'll carry on with their life and never think about you again. Ever, ever, ever. That's like the most extreme example of that embarrassment. And I feel like, to be honest with you, that is the best flavor of embarrassment you could possibly have, because other people are doing so much worse, okay? Other people are throwing their underwear at fucking Justin Bieber in front of everybody. You know? Other people are unapologetically enjoying K-pop in front of everybody. You know? There are people wearing orange for no good reason, you know? And yours is involuntary. Yours isn't even your fault. No one can make any moral or like no kind of judgments about you whatsoever. You know? Yeah. So like you're not even making a dick of yourself. You're just doing something that, you know, people will pay attention to for a few seconds and get over. So I feel like of all the ways that you were condemned to embarrass yourself, you had to at some point. But this is pretty mild when you think about it. It's scary at first, and I didn't feel that way the whole time. Like I used to be terrified to go outside. I used to wear really dull clothes hoping no one would ever notice me. I used to barely ever leave the house. I became agoraphobic. I was so terrified of people judging me from the ticks. Absolutely terrified. And I feel like I got over it for a variety of reasons. One of it is that it tends to make people laugh, which is kind of great because it's a passive. I didn't choose to make you laugh. Okay. So don't feel ashamed. But like there are people who go to comedy clubs and they spend their whole life aspiring to be a comedian and make people laugh, and they never fucking funny. They never get to be funny a day in their lives. They never make a single person laugh, and it's really cringe and embarrassing, and their whole life's passion and ambition, they never get to make anyone laugh because they are just so shit at comedy. And they try, and they never get there. And I just randomly offered to fist everyone. I said to a guy on a taxi, "Can I rest my balls on your bonnet?" And he went, "Sure. I'm sure my wife would like to watch too." He laughed his ass off. He was so excited to see me again. He was like, "I picked you up before. You're the girl with Tourette's." You know, another guy said, "Can I sit on your foot?" as a tick, and he went, with the shoe on or off?" Immediately. Didn't even think about it twice. These people fucking laugh their ass off. And so, like, I'm not even trying. I don't even know what I'm gonna say half the time. And I just get to make someone's day and make someone laugh. That's the worst case scenario for me these days. But I'm lucky I'm a small woman. No one's gonna find it threatening. You know? I think it'd be different if I was like a 6 foot something, big old brute looking guy. I think everyone would be like, "Ah!" And like I'd get arrested a lot, probably. But I'm a little woman, you know? It's great. So at this point, I used to be really embarrassed and afraid to leave the house, and now, fuck it. I don't care. I'm just like, oh well. Either it goes well or someone laughs. So I I would rather be doing embarrassing shit whilst going kayaking or climbing or watching a cool movie or living my life to the fullest rather than just embarrass myself at home. Because if I'm gonna do embarrassing shit either way, I might as well do it while I'm loving my life. I feel that way about pain too. I'm in pain all the time because I've got a bunch of other conditions. And I'm like, if I'm gonna be in pain either way, I might as well be in pain while I go have fun and do cool shit. Rather than just be in pain and be bored as well at home and sad. You gave your opinion on smoking. What is your opinion on vaping? Exactly the same as smoking. Except vaping is increasingly pollutive compared because it takes this disposable stuff that is like made of plastic and metal and shit, and those things just don't decay very long. So you're gonna leave thousands of years worth of fucking trash. The most long-lasting thing you're gonna leave behind is trash. And it poisons you and it puts you in hospital. It gives you popcorn lung. There are loads of people in hospital who thought that vaping wouldn't hurt them, and it's completely fucked up their life. So permanently, and they're disabled and they will die sooner. So I feel like for me, vaping isn't personally worth the risk just to blow flavored smoke everywhere, right? But if you want to do that to yourself and you're not making anyone else passively smoke it, you're not smoking it around anybody else, then I don't care. Do whatever you want to do to your body. It's entirely your choice. You are not obligated to be healthy. You are not obligated to live for anyone else or live by anybody else's personal decisions. Like, we all damage ourselves with something. You're totally allowed. It's totally legal to do that. So I don't judge people for doing it, I just don't want it. What do I reckon of I swear? I literally sat there with 2 mates and watched it, and every 5 minutes I was going, "Oh my god, I've been through that. Fuck, I've been through that too." This feels like it's about my life. None of my experiences are unique whatsoever. Holy shit. Like, maybe I haven't gone and like, received any awards from the queen, but, like, there were so many situations. The suicide attempts, being rejected and going through hell at school, like, there were instances where, like, I don't know, just even fucking struggling to get a job was really hard. Being beaten to unconsciousness because of someone misinterpreting what I've said, yes, been there too. Being rejected and abused by my family because of it, yep, been there too. I mean, he was lucky because he found another family who took him in and loved him and gave him a chance. I didn't. So, like, I had, like, people who didn't accept my condition and put me through hell and punished me for my tics and shit, and then nowhere else to go. So, like, I feel like some things were different, and I was really happy for them with most of them. I was like, "Oh, damn, at least you had that," you know? Nobody gave me a job, nobody gave me a chance. The only person who was insane enough to hire me was myself. So, like, he got to have a job interview that went well, and I wish I did, because I didn't get that one. But I'd been there with being judged and, things not going well and it being a real struggle to get a job. Um, like, bonding with animals better than bonding with people, been there. Like, there was so much there was so much that I related to. It felt like a documentary about my life. So much of it, I was like, "I've been through that. Holy shit." But, like, he had documentaries made about him ever since he was a little kid. He's had the camera pointed in his face, and the movie did not cover any of that. It covered his perspective and what he went through, but it did not cover what it's like to have everyone define you by your condition in a media sense, because that is a whole other thing, and it can be traumatizing, and it can be weird, and it can be very defining for you as an experience, and it's huge. And I feel like we didn't learn it from the perspective of someone being observed. We learned about him as being an observer, and that entire quarter of, like, his existence and, the influence it would have had to but also he got a diagnosis so young, as far as I understand. And, like, the doctors believed him, which I didn't get at all. Ranch, thank you so much. And yeah, his meds sucked, but he knew what was wrong with it. Anita, I've been kicked from a fan group that's a big part of my social life. When asked why, both via text and in person, I'm stonewalled and ignored. I have a feeling you can relate. I can't. I don't try to be somewhere I'm not welcome. So if a large group of people had kicked me from a group, I would just leave. I would not keep banging my head against a closed door. Um, but also I feel like sometimes people just can't be trusted with an answer, so you know that they're not gonna take from that, they're just gonna argue, but the decision is final. So sometimes people if somebody is banging on the door outside of a group going, why won't you let me in? Let me back. Even if they did let you in, they don't like you. They don't want you there. Why are you trying to get back in? There are places where you will be liked, will be wanted. This isn't one of them. Don't try to force yourself into a position where you are where you're not wanted. Because your self-worth isn't a group project. Them not wanting you does not mean that you're not worthy or that you don't belong anywhere. It just means that you don't belong there. And if you can learn from the feedback, do. Because the next place you go, you might be rejected for the same reason if you don't work on it. Would you ever consider making a documentary or writing a book about your life? Maybe. Maybe. I don't know if anyone would ever care or look at it, to be honest with you. Have you ever tried Vyvanse or meds for your ADHD? No. So I got assessed for ADHD when I was a teenager, when I was like 15, 6, no, probably about 16, 17 years old. Um, But I didn't realize that wasn't a medical diagnosis. So there was an ADHD, that wasn't even an ADHD expert. They were somebody who knows about learning difficulties. They were a learning difficulties specialist. And I'd been flagged because I was doing well at the lessons, but very aloof and not turning up very much and seemed to have some struggles. And they were like, we don't know what's up with her, but maybe you should assess her. And initially I was assessed for dyslexia. And as she was assessing me, she was like, "Can I assess you for something else? There's this thing called ADHD. I don't know if you've ever heard of it." I was like, and she was like, "Well, I'd like to test you for that too if you've got time, because some of the answers and some of the things that you did kind of suggest that you may have it." So she assessed and she was like, "Yes, you score very highly with the ADHD." So she gave me some information about what it was because it wasn't very well known back then. I'm in my mid-30s, and back then it wasn't like this hugely understood, known thing with a lot of coverage. Like it's exploded in coverage ever since, right? And so she told me all about it. She gave me some resources, and then the uni that I was at, they got me a special laptop that takes notes for me, that converted what people said into written notes by recording and things like this, and installed loads of apps and stuff to help me to read and to write and to be able to do stuff. And then I just got on with my life and just kind of raw dogged ADHD ever since, and didn't really know there was a lot of resources for it. So I never really had a reason to go to the doctor because I didn't know there was meds for most of the time that I've been alive. And when I learned about the meds, I was like, I don't know. I've been unmedicated Tourette's and I'm fine. I'm thriving. I don't know that I need any medical assistance with anything. And then I learned that you are several times more likely to get dementia if you don't get medicated for your ADHD. It's like, oh, fuck. So now I am going to get around to it, but I'm dealing with a lot of other medical health issues first. So it's probably going to be like a year or two, maybe 3 before I get even started on that at this rate. Sounds like you're mostly functional. No, I have very, very severe ADHD to a point where I would say that I'm pretty not functional with it. But I found a way to manage and lean into it and like make all the things that I can't help but do benefit me rather than not do those things. You know what I mean? Like if I can't help but play computer games all day and it's ruining my life, fine, I'll monetize the computer games and I'll get paid to play them. And I play in tournaments and shit on stream. And now that's my job. So technically it's productive. Because before it was unproductive and kind of ruining my life. So no, under any other circumstances, tits, I wouldn't be able to function. Like I have such severe time blindness, I could never hold down a normal job, for example, ever. I'm late for everything, even my own streams. Hello, new here. What's your intro? It's this.
I go up your ass. Kiss, wow. Kiss, whoa. I go up your ass. I need a dick, and it's not yours. 100 wow, 100 whoa, 100 sip koi. I need a dick, and it's not yours. I'ma spend it on my boyfriend. Bend them over, slap the ass. I go bend them over, slap the ass. I go bend them over, slap the Press 1 for butt fun. Press 2 if you wanna follow through.
Anyway, if you want to see all of that, you can what's the word? You can come when the stream starts and see the whole thing. But I would subject the people who've seen it for 8 years to the entire thing. But it's pretty fun, and it lasts like a couple of minutes, which gives me time to quickly get a drink or whatever while I settle in. That's my intro. Hope you like it. Fuck off. Give us the intro back. Oh, sorry. Did I interrupt? My bad. Holy shit. Does the Tourette's affect your sleep at all? I feel like my ADHD affects my sleep worse, to be honest with you, than anything else. But no, I don't like tick very much in my sleep, to be honest with you. Occasionally I do, but most of the time, no. In fact, the more sleepy I am, the less likely I am to tick, which is really nice because it means that if I just stay up all night before I have to travel, say like I have to be on a train all day or a plane, I can just fall asleep. But like what I've learned is I have to get a first class ticket and have a seat all by myself to fall asleep on the train. Otherwise, I am in danger. One day I woke up next to a viewer, and that was very weird and creepy. Not every like I've bumped into viewers on the train before and they've not been weird, but like I don't want to sleep next to some random person who knows who I am, but I don't know who they are. That is scary. I love you. 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 I can't sleep on trains. Always scared I'll oversleep and miss the stop. Well, I'm very sensitive to my alarms, so I can drop off because I wake up with my alarms like I do. And I set my alarm for like a few minutes, like 5 minutes before the train and 5 minutes before 5 minutes before the train. So like I have a couple. One that kind of makes me like, and another one's like, okay, okay, I'm here, I'm ready. And then like with enough time to get off. I need a billion alarms in the morning because I'm hard to wake usually. Um, have you thought about getting an alarm for the blind or the deaf? Because a lot of people who are like can sleep through alarms and alarms are an issue for them. There are loads of ones that can really help you. Only Diggins, thank you so much. I really appreciated your advice. It gave me a better perspective and put my mind at ease a little. Thank you. That's awesome. But yeah, there are loads of different types of alarms. So there's ones where you can get on your phone where you have to solve a math problem to turn it off. But the only problem is you might become a math genius and be able to do them in your sleep, because I know a few people who've done that, and that tends to be what leads to them no longer finding them useful a few years in. Okay? So that might be a temporary fix for a few years. The next one is you can get a vibrating mat alarm. So there are deaf people who can quite often have one that flashes. So that some people have like one that flashes really, really bright lights and it wakes them up. And some people have like a little mat and you put it underneath your like mattress cover or whatever, and it vibrates instead of making a sound and it shakes you and that wakes you up. There's one that is like an alarm that has wheels and it immediately starts rolling around the room and you have to catch up to it to wake yourself to turn it off as well. So that one will get you out of bed. But like if you don't want like a little toy to chase around when you wake up, you could always just set your alarm and then put your phone or whatever in the next room or somewhere, as long as you can hear it and it will actually wake you up because it'll get you up out of the bed and you have to be standing to turn it off. And even just across the room can help you with that too. Just make sure that you have the willpower not to put your butt back on the bed as soon as you've done it, because otherwise then it's pointless. I've had people wake me up and I respond and everything, but it turns out that I'm just talking in my sleep, so I never got up. Oh my god! That is a huge issue. I hope there's like an r/heavy sleepers or whatever that you can go on and talk to. I feel like I would be terrified if I was the kind of person who could be at that level of unconscious around other people. That would freak me the fuck out. Mabu, thank you so much. Hello, is this mic working? Hello, Mabu. You know, I'm looking forward to digging out the little picture you made. Um, but because I want to put it back on the wall. I miss it. It's nice to see you too. Have you ever tried flying? Yeah, in many different ways, actually. Why'd you ask? You said that last time. I hope you find the pic. You like my little reminder. I'm like, oh yeah, I should whip that out again. How do I find your Discord? Fuck off, Dennis. It's Dennis. Dennis, shut up. It's in my channel description. So if you click on my Twitch channel and you click on, let me just get it up. Bear with me. So on my channel, if you just type in Sweet Anita and scroll down, you see where it says like 1.8 million followers. On the right there's Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, TikTok, YouTube. Wait, I thought it was gonna be there. I thought that was gonna be where I want. Fuck, it's not there. So scroll down even further, and it says Discord in white writing on a little blue starry sky. Right in the middle there. Yeah, also the mods can put a link to my Discord in the channel description. In chat even. God, I can't even speak right now. Peak sent it already? Fantastic. Okay. Goose chase over. So basically, just know that when you arrive, you're not going to be able to see all the channels and you're not going to be able to access anything properly. There's a channel called rules. You need to go through the rules, read them, and then click accept to be able to proceed. So things like, don't fucking tag me. don't come and have political arguments in the middle of people's day. We actually have a really cool Discord server. We do workouts together. We play games together. We have a cooking night. We do all kinds of fun things together, okay? So we don't want no idiots going, I just want an intellectual debate. I don't know why you won't debate me. What do you mean vibes, ruining the vibes? I'm just trying to learn from each other and exchange ideas about my really dogshit racist fucking perspectives. Why won't you hear me out? Why isn't this welcome here? I suppose you just aren't a fan of intellectual discussion. You will get yeeted. Don't you even dare with that shit. Okay? We have rules for a reason, because we're awesome, and it's nice to be there, and we keep it nice to be there. So don't be a prick. But that said, yeah, it's a really cool place. And there's a lot of regulars. There are people who've fallen in love, people who've gotten married because they met on my Discord. There are people who have gone traveling together with buddies they've made on my Discord. Like, we have a really wholesome, lovely community, and people love to be there. And some people spend all day, every day there. And I rarely, like, I wake up, they're there in some of the VCs or typing in subgen. And then, like, I will go to sleep, wake up, they're still there. They've been there 7 hours. And then I'll do my whole day. They're still there. Like, there are some people I'm like, do you fucking sleep? What are you? And we admire each other's pets and things like that. It's really nice. Yeah, lol, thank you. We needed a good giggle at work. I don't know what I did. At no point was I trying to be funny, but I'm glad you laughed anyway. What type of games do you play? Nigga. Sorry, nigga. I don't know why that's happening. Fuck off. I play dick. I play bitch. What do I play? I play a lot of Marvel Rivals right now and Overwatch. This. Hey, thank you so much, fellas. Values of Sin. There we go. Misread your name at first, but thank you ever so much. I appreciate the generosity. I also play like Frostpunk and Farthest Frontier and stuff like that. And I feel like a long slew. I've been playing Witchspire lately. Why are you getting surgery? It's weird that you know I'm getting surgery. Is that in like the info? I feel like everywhere where I announced I'm getting surgery, I also said why I'm getting surgery, so I don't know how you know one thing but not the other, but basically endometriosis. Oh, really, girl? Yeah, actually, this is my last week of sleeping. My last week of streaming. And then I'm gonna be getting an operation, unfortunately. So, I will be not streaming while I recover. Because it is very painful and invasive and fucked. It'll go well, surely. I really hope so. I need to send them an email like, hey, if it's fused to my organs and you have to remove pieces of my organs, I do not want pieces of my organs removed. Please, if you have to ablate and remove any bits, that it is just removal of the lesions and not anything else, and you won't do anything else without my consent, please. Will that fix your peristalsis problem? No, it's not for that, unfortunately. That will have to be in a whole other surgery I get sometime in the future. Hope your surgery goes well. Thank you. I appreciate that. Bitch! How will it take to recover? I don't know. Because it could take like a couple of weeks if it's just an investigation and they find no lesions. But if they find lesions, they're gonna have to snip them out. And I don't know how extensive they are or how far they go or nothing. So if they do find lesions, they're gonna take them out on the spot. And it just depends. Like, some people have lesions all over their bowel or all over their like bladder or whatever. Some people have it on their lungs. Some people have had it even in their brain. I don't think they'd be able to find it if it got all the way up there just by very easily. But like, the surgery, they're just gonna fill me with air and then light, So they're gonna expand my stomach, and then they're gonna have a rummage around and look at all my organs and make sure that they aren't, that they aren't covered in endometriosis. I hope that goes well too, Echo Baz. How are you feeling about it all? I mean, I don't really think about it. I don't really like imagine how it'll go or whatever. Um, which is probably for the best because I have horrible OCD. So every now and again I get flashes of things that could go wrong and I'm like, huh, maybe I should look into whether or not I could go wrong that way and what I could do about it. And then I read about it a little, but like I probably have looked up 2 things towards it and then just not thought about it. I probably won't feel nervous until I'm about to be wheeled in. Because that's how it goes with me. I'll be fine and I'll be very relaxed, and then all of a sudden, like 5 seconds before it's about to happen, I'll be like, "Oh fuck, oh god," and then it's too late to back out, and I go through that 5 minutes of "oh fuck," and then it's fine. Ah, no worries, Akabaz. To be honest with you, I've already forgotten about it, so cool. Maybe Halva can be your emotional support friend since she had her insides rummaged with that internal bleeding problem. Yeah, I mean, you have a good memory. She did, and she had loads of scarring from it, so she had to have like a second operation to fix it. But she's good now. She's such a happy little bunny. I knew there was something wrong. I knew it. And there was like, and I'm glad I got it fixed for her because I feel like a lot of people would have had no idea how to handle that situation, but I did, and she's good. Do you really want to hear my problems? Do you really want to hear my problems? Do you really want to hear my problems? I mean, when you put it like that, Devin, probably not, but you can tell us anyway. Mwah! You can actually talk to your body beforehand to prepare it for surgery. Not sure if it helps, but it didn't hurt. What did you find out about that? I mean, that's interesting because you do have a involuntary aspect of your body that that isn't entirely connected with your conscious brain. So, like, I guess maybe that is helpful. You never know. Yeah, I think I've seen it somewhere on YouTube, but I can't remember where. Maybe I'll go look into it. Maybe it is useful. Not gonna lie, I do talk to my body sometimes and it works. What the fuck would you tell it? And you're like, listen, buddy, I know you don't need to shit, but can we shit now? Because this will be our last opportunity because we're on a long flight in a minute. So I'm just gonna need you to shit for me, pal. Yes? What did I actually call it? Oh, not to shit. Okay, so the opposite of what I said. But yes, you talk to yourself about shit. That's so funny. Yeah, sometimes you just have to convince your brain to do stuff. Well, I'll have to give it a go. Thanks for the recommendation. It's actually, I've been giving you guys advice. It's nice to actually receive some, so thank you. The United Kingdom is in my chat. That's kind of crazy. Mm, can you avoid surgery? Not really. How do I stop going to bed after 3 a.m.? I mean, if that's naturally when you start to feel sleepy, it sounds like you just need to build your life around that sleeping pattern. That's what I did. I kept trying to fix my sleeping pattern for years and I was just exhausted all the time. And when I actually just let myself be productive at night, and slept during the day, I was suddenly really healthy and productive all of a sudden. And so I just started working at night and sleeping during the day and built my life around that. And I got a bunch of American friends to play games with because it was their daytime, so I could hang out with people and play games that I was passionate about. And that's how I managed it for like friendships to some degree. There are some night owls that live in the UK too. And then I also I was self-employed so that I could work through the night and sleep through the day. And my brain was healthier, my body was healthier because I found that whenever I corrected my sleeping pattern, it would take like one night of me gaming or doing something and forgetting to sleep for it to be ruined for weeks or weeks after. So I was exhausted all of the time trying to fix it. When I stopped trying to fix it, I was well rested, I was switched on, I was happy about the day. So I feel like my solution was to just not fix it. My solution was to stop treating everything that's unique to my body like it's a flaw. Yeah. Yeah, sleeping patterns are genetic. So, the reason that scientists believe that we have alternating sleeping patterns, where some people are daytime people and sometimes are nighttime people, is because when we were tribes people and when we were living as little animals and monkeys in the trees, we needed someone to be awake at all times in the group so that there was always someone keeping watch, no matter who was sleeping. And the only way you could achieve that is if some people felt sleepy during the day and others felt sleepy during the night. So we ended up with split genes, where you get a mix of both in any group of people. So I guess people like you and me are the night watch. Uh-uh, that's toots. I have a findom addiction. How to stop? I don't know, I just feel like you just need someone who matches your energy, and you could just be happy. Is it really that much of a negative thing for you? Like, have your kinks as long as you're not hurting anyone. Yeah, just enjoy that life. Yeah, why not? Yes, Findom is ruining me. Okay, okay, so if it's a negative thing that you're having trouble breaking your relationship with, therapy. Therapy would be the start. Go see someone about that. Go see someone about addiction. There are specialists. There are therapists specifically for addiction. That's where you need to go, buddy. You need to be giving your money to a different kind of professional. Always so relatable. I mean, shush. I do think that there's a lot of kinks that have a natural origin. And I feel like Findom does have maybe a little bit of a genetic natural origin, right? And I have a theory that the reason why there are so many men out there who get off on giving all their resources to women is because men who had an urge to give all their resources to women got laid. Like, women are way more likely to breed with and have a relationship with a generous man who goes and gathers resources and brings them back to her. Like, simping is a very natural state for men. So I'm not surprised that there are men out there addicted to Findom. Not at all. Like, to when you see someone you're attracted to, immediately get triggered to want to give them everything and be like, have all my resources. Yeah, that checks out. Yeah, it's a mating strategy. It works for some men, not all men, but it does work for some men, so I can understand. And it would make sense if simping was a biological urge of men, because there have been folklore about simping for thousands of years. There are thousands of years old tales, bedtime tales to learn lessons from about men simping. So we know it's been a self-destruct like a really addictive behavior to a self-destructive degree for thousands of years because of the bedtime stories we told children. Um, but also, uh, like things like OnlyFans are like the majority of people on OnlyFans are women providing services to men who want to give women they're attracted to money. And like people on stream will randomly get some random oiler who's just like, here's $1,000. And it's mostly men giving it to people they're attracted to. It's very, very rare for a woman to just troll through Twitch to find some grateful little guy who, you know, some hot young thing with a perky butt. Like there's not some like 52-year-old Janice giving 23-year-old Bruce like $5,000 just because he has nice tits. You know, it's not that's very, very rare. So it kind of happens no matter what culture, no matter what country, no matter what time in history. So I do think there might be a genetic it's just a theory, but there might be some biological genetic thing where men just see women and it's like when you take damage in Sonic and you just drop a bunch of coins. Like I hear that noise where you take damage and you drop all your coins. Sometimes you see a guy fall in love and you hear that sound and he just wants to throw things at her. He's like, have flowers, have chocolate, have a ring, have all my money, have everything. You know, have the coat off my back, have everything, have everything. You're a woman and you're nice and you're hot, and I feel like you should have things. I rarely ever see a woman do this. I rarely ever see a woman do this, and I wonder if there's a biological aspect of it. You know how like pigeons, male pigeons, will get they'll get the urge to do a powwow dance. They'll do that woo woo dance and they'll spin and stuff when they see someone they're attracted to. I feel like that's the human equivalent. You know? Like, sometimes there are some animals where it's like, "I love you, I brought you this rock." Like penguins. Penguins will bring you shiny pebbles when they're attracted to you, that, "I just have this overwhelming urge to give you this." I feel like men, biologically, just go, "Have everything, please, you're so hot." And it's definitely conditioning. I don't know that it is. Because if it was conditioning, then it wouldn't be so consistent no matter what country, culture, and time. Like, it wouldn't be so ubiquitous throughout history and around the world. If it was just a conditioning thing, you'd see pockets of it. But you don't, you see it everywhere. Like, I've forgotten where in Africa it is, but there's a place in Africa, one of the countries in Africa, right? Where they have these big elaborate weddings, and the guy has to shower her in money. And like at the wedding, he'll dance and shower her, like with big stacks of money, and she must act unimpressed. And when she looks grateful and picks the money up, he can stop. And so she acts like she's not excited about all the money and everything for as long as she possibly can, while he showers her in money. It's crazy to watch. Mods, if you can find a video of it. Was it Nigeria? Is it Nigerian weddings? I can't remember where it is. But like there's somewhere in Africa where the tradition is the man showers her with money. Like you go anywhere in the world, you find it. I know what you're talking about. Exactly. There's places all around the world, times everywhere, like where men are just like where they give everything to a woman to a fault. Even strip clubs are literally designed where you go there because you find a woman attractive and you throw resources at her, right? I don't think it's cultural. I think simping might be like a natural instinct for a lot of men. Not all men, obviously. I'm not gonna generalize every single man. But like I feel like for a lot of men, it's like instinctive. Ah, thank you. You found a video. Did you figure out where it was? Let's have a look. Let me just X this off. Okay. Nigeria. Oh, was I right?
It won't make sense. So, where am I going to? It's already too late. So, I've already come too far. It's already too late. So,
And he just goes and he goes and he goes.
we spend the billions. Who spend the billions? Who spend for Jesus? Who spend for Jesus? We shift the culture.
And he's hesitating. He's like, really? You're not smiling? There we go. Oh my god, look how high the stack got. Holy shit. She held out.
It won't make sense. So, where am I going?
She looks amazing though.
It's already too late.
To be fair,
I've already come too
I might have stacked even higher.
already too late. So, we won the war. We will spend the billions.
She looks really slay. This is absurd. What's absurd about it? I'm surprised she wouldn't whip out the money gun. I actually have a money gun for reasons. I should probably go find that. But yeah, like I've seen people like literally shower like this and like it rain all over her for these weddings. It's evolution of the earth, show you're rich, whatever it is, coins, pebbles, colorful feathers, that's just how the world works. Kind of, but also kind of not. I do feel like just having resources will not make you attractive. But I do feel like if you're a female and you have to put all the work in, you have to deal with the pregnancy and the predominance of like most of the child rearing and care. You're the one who has to risk your life producing these kids and risk your life protecting these kids because the chances are that the male is going to either mate and leave or the male is going to be less prominent in the childcare, right? And in those examples, I feel like you have to be attractive, but you also have to show that you're willing to give resources and enable because there's very little else you can do to like compensate for the fact that you're not going to carry the pregnancy. You're not going to risk your life. None of these things. Sex is like a really high stakes thing for a lot of females because they're the ones who can risk dying in childbirth and things like that. They're the one who's going to have to do the biologically taxing things. Do you know that it can ruin your bone density and IQ to have kids and to breastfeed? Like, you make lifelong sacrifices to have a child. So, like, the only way that a man is going to make it appealing on his half is if he finds a way to show that he'll make her life easier and provide for those kids and do something for those kids because she, by default, has to. But what are you going to do? And so I feel like I don't think it overrides everything, but I do think it's reasonable that if you're thinking about making the huge commitment of building a child, you should build it with somebody who can help make that child as happy, comfortable, safe, and well provided for as possible. And that just makes sense. But in a lot of species, it's not even that. Like for pufferfish, the pufferfish just have to show how artistic they are. They paint massive fractal art on the seafloor. People used to think it was aliens when we first discovered it because nobody knew what was making it. These beautiful big paintings on the floor. And so the pufferfish is just the most artistic guy who gets, like, who seduces the girl. You know? For some males, it's the best dancer. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be resources alone, but it makes sense for humans who have like uh who have to put a lot of resources and time into kids. Because even after they're born, they take so much rearing. You're gonna look for somebody who's going to make your child as happy as possible, you know? And a generous person is definitely gonna do that. I don't necessarily know about rich, but a generous person. You can be generous and be poor, but like I think that a generous person is probably gonna be preferable to have a child with than someone who isn't. You know what I mean? Do we prefer dancing or artistry? I feel like there are people who would fall for either, to be honest with you. I'm sure there are women who would fall for a guy who paints pictures of her, paints her like one of their French girls, whatever. And I think there are people who like dancing. I feel like dancing, to be honest with you, I see more people respond to dancing these days than artistry. I don't know if they're even, but if I were to guess which one is I've seen the most popular, Everyone loves a good dance. We're like birds. Yeah, go ahead and run that dono. Sword Death, thank you so much for the tip, by the way. I appreciate it. I love artists. I mean, who wouldn't? Honestly. I feel like Van Gogh level ear cutting might be a bit too much for me, but like I feel like creative men are attractive. Creative women are attractive too. But creativity in general is quite an attractive trait. But I think it insinuates a form of intelligence as well. So I think that's probably part of why instinctively we look for skills. How do I break social media addiction? As a disabled person with very limited opportunities to touch grass, I get stuck mindlessly scrolling and lose hours. I do have hobbies, but it's not enough. Um, so first of all, what do you do when you're not scrolling? Because if you're just going to stare at a wall because, you've only got so much time and money for your hobbies, I don't know what the harm is, but if you genuinely do want to do something about it, fuck nuggets. You can fuck off. You can fuck off, bitch. You can definitely download apps. I have an app. What the fuck is my app called? I got you. I have to sign into my phone real quick. I got you. Hang on. There is an app that I had downloaded on my phone. Did I uninstall it at some point? Where the fuck did it go? Okay, I have a lot of apps, so I can't find it right now, specifically. But what it does is it, locks certain apps for a certain amount of time, and you can set it to be like, if I've been scrolling on these websites for 15 minutes, do an alarm and make me stop. Or you can set it so it's like between 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. I please lock these. And what it'll do is it'll lock them, but if there's like an emergency or you absolutely have to look at it, you can solve a puzzle first, and it takes a few seconds to do the puzzle. And that makes you mindful and distracts you from it for a second, so you can reconsider. And if you still want access to it, you can take a break, which means you can set let me on it for 5 minutes. And it'll go, fine, you can have 5 minutes. And then as soon as 5 minutes is up, all of a sudden, over TikTok or Instagram or whatever it is you're addicted to, it'll go, sorry, your time's up, it's locked now, time to be productive again. And it'll just jam it and you can't open it again. So you can set it to control whatever you need, however you need it. And it's really, really effective. That's smart. Yeah, I mean, of course, a lot of these apps exist, so you can choose the one that works best for you. I would choose the one with the best reviews, personally. I think that's what I did. I just wish I knew the name of it. It had a little egg. So it might have an egg-based name, I don't know. Or a rock-based name. It wasn't Pomodoro. Lock ID. No, it wasn't. Damn, everyone's gonna make suggestions and they're gonna be wrong. Fuck, I need to find it. Opal. I think it was Opal. It's Opal. It's called Opal. And so you can set it, it kind of interviews you in the beginning to assess your goals, to find the best management technique for you. Because for some people it's sometimes when I'm laying in bed, I don't sleep early enough because I scroll too long. And so it will at nighttime track your how long you've been on there, and it will cut you off and be like, hey, it's 11 p.m. Or hey, you've been on here for 3 hours. It tailors it to you depending on how you want to do it. No, not awful. Opal with a P. And every week it calculates how much time you spent on the app, and it tells you, and it shows you when you've reduced it. and how much progress you've made. Bitch! Why not just delete social media from your phone? I feel like that's not entirely possible in this day and age anymore because some people are using it for news or education. Some people require it. Like Instagram isn't just for scrolling. Like some people socialize on it. Like it's how you keep in touch with your friends and things like this. So because a lot of these apps have multiple uses, it's harder to filter them out without like detracting from your life in a really severe way. But it's just the addictiveness of scrolling through shorts or something, you know, like the little short videos that can really get people. Yeah, my job is social media, so I can't delete those. I can't just like come off of them completely because somebody else would impersonate me and that's really dangerous. Because somebody did that and it was a huge battle to get them taken down and it took me like ages, months and months and months and months. And he was a weirdo. He was recommending like really damaging medication to people, pretending to be me, like, oh yeah, I've been on that med and it's great. And it's like, I've never been on that med. And people who've been on that med have had their nerves paralyzed. You can't just recommend that to people's kids. So like people will do that and they'll also make AI generated OnlyFans of me and pretend to be me on Instagram and be like, check out my OnlyFans. It's like I don't have an OnlyFans, this sort of stuff. So I have to maintain my own social media, which means I have to be on it. It's not a choice. It's part of my life and my job, and if I don't do it, I put myself and others at risk. Yeah. How to deal with people who comment on every single tick you have when you can't get away from this person. I've explained Tourette's, but he still always goes, "What the hell is that?" every single time. I mean, it depends on the situation. Are they family? Are they work? Like, where is this? Because there are different things you can do about it depending on the situation. But that is very annoying, and I'm so sorry you have to deal with that. Fuck. He is a cousin that is there at the same time when I'm at my house, at my aunt's house. Ah, okay, okay. So, and they're responding to every single tick with confusion. Are they a child? Are like they an adult who can reason, or are they like a 10-year-old or something? Because this is also different. Like a child with learning difficulties, you handle that very, very different to an adult. But like as well, you can have a word with your aunt and just be like, I love you and I want to be around you, but at the moment I find it really difficult to be because, you know, this kid doesn't understand me and is reacting inappropriately to my Tourette's. And I really want to work on it because I love spending time with you, but I really need help dealing with it. Can be you could involve the aunt. Be like, they're responding to every single tick, and it is just not great. I don't mind if they respond to some, or if they make light of it in a joke or something, but responding to every single one going, what the hell is not, it's not it. And it's screwing with me. He's a kid, 12 to 13, but he's being very purposely ignorant about it. Yeah, talk to the aunt. And if the aunt will not be reasoned with, um, don't go to the aunt's house. Just be like, I love you, but I can't, I just need space because the issue isn't resolved. I have a medical issue. I can't help it. Your kid needs to deal with it. I think that's totally fair. I want to come out to my grandparents, but I'm scared too. I mean, I feel like you can gauge how they feel about homosexuality or whatever sexuality you have before you decide whether or not they can be trusted with it. But for me personally, I never came out to my family. I never really thought of my romantic or sex life as something that is any of their business. Like, so I didn't really ever care how they felt about it or what their opinion was or ever felt the need to let them know. I mean, when I was little, my dad, I was in the car with my stepmother and her 2 kids and my dad. And she was, like, talking to her kids going, "You know what? It's okay for boys to like boys, and it's okay for girls to like girls. And sometimes that happens. And whether you like a boy or a girl, I would still love you just the same, and that is okay." And I thought, "Oh, that's really wholesome." I was, like, really young, like, maybe 7, 8, 9, somewhere in that age bracket, and I was listening to that like, "Huh." And then my dad turned to me, looked me straight in the eyes, 'cause he was in the front of the car. He turned, looked me straight in the eye and went, "But not you, Anita. You're not like that, are you?" I was like, "Oh, holy shit." Turns out I was the only one in the car who was like that. I'm bisexual. So I never really felt the urge to have that conversation with my dad. I didn't give a shit. I was like, "Well, my love life, my sex life, none of your business." Like, it is weird for parents to feel like they have any monopoly on that, and they do not need to be involved. So, my opinion is, if you deserve to know, you'll know. And if you don't deserve to know, that's not my problem. So, if you have, like, grandparents who are homophobic, I don't feel like they deserve to know, and you might as well just stay in the will. But if they are the kind of people who, are fine with gay people, then go ahead and come out, and I don't know why you'd be scared if you already know that they're fine with it. Do you have a Discord for art review? So I have a Discord and it's just for lots of things. People socialize on there and stuff and hang out, and I hang out with the people who are my viewers there. But like there is a channel in my Discord that is for art, and you can put art that you've made there that everyone shares their art, no matter what it is that they drew. What if your parents want to see what books you're checking out of the library? Then just don't take gay books out of the library. Just read them in the library. Problem solved. What is considered a gay book even? Oh, sounds like you've got a lot of fun reading to do. There's a lot of gay books. All kinds of gay books. Gay books is in gay romance, probably. Yeah, but there's also just gay history and stuff like that. Gay science. Gay history is fucking fascinating. Like, did you know that there is an animal in the UK called a cockchafer? It's my favorite bug. Not because of the name. It's just a really cool bug. Its little antenna look like jazz hands, and it's like this little beetle, and they're really big. And I love them, right? And they were one of the first animals in the UK to be noted to enjoy same-sex coitus. And it really perplexed and upset and caused like this huge discourse amongst scientists at the time because it wasn't considered acceptable to present homosexuality as natural. It was considered unnatural. So to find it in nature was very troubling, very concerning and troubling. Obviously, we found homosexuality in many other animals. In fact, there are some species where there's more gay animals than straight ones. Um, so like, what is it? Is it the booby or the shag? There's some sort of great bird. It's a really big bird, and there are more lesbians than straight females. Yeah, isn't there a lizard species that's specifically gay only? Yeah, they could have been. They missed a trick because they could have called them the lesbiazids or something, the lesbian lizards, right? But they called them the mourning lizards because they thought that they would be mourning the men. They thought that they would miss the men. It's like they evolved to completely not have any men. There are only females. They only mate with other females. How? At what point do they look sad? No. Why would you call them the mourning lizard? The lesbians. There we go. That was the one that flicked across my brain and I lost it. They could have called them the lesbians. So yeah, there's gay history books, there's gay science books, there's gay romance books, there is gay politics books. Like, there needs to be more gay politics books as well, because gay politics is crazy interesting. So, like, in America during the AIDS epidemic, the government could have put funding into researching AIDS a lot sooner, but they didn't. And what this meant was lots and lots of gay men died. And to protest this and to try and put pressure on the government to invest in a solution, they brought the ashes of their dead friends on a march and they tipped so many kilos of ashes of dead people all over the White House lawn while they cried. Holy fuck, now that's a protest. Yeah. Insane. And eventually they convinced them to look into it and develop treatments, but it was such a hard push because at the time they were saying, well, just don't be gay then. Well, maybe it's because you're so sinful and you deserve to die. And that was like all this horrible stigma stopping people from looking into solutions at the time. So yeah, that is a huge part of like gay history. And there's loads of things like that. Really cool things. There's examples of gay people and bisexual people throughout history that were just insanely cool. There was a bisexual pirate lady who had both a husband and a wife at the same time. And she was like a pirate captain who owned many, many fleets. And she was incredibly successful and beautiful and like crazy cool. And this was like in the 1700s, I think. There was a bisexual duelist lady who she would challenge men to duel. Well, men would challenge her to duels because she was better at seducing women than them. So she would seduce these girls at balls and parties, and men would come with the little gloves and go, "I challenge you for a duel for her honor. How dare you!" And she killed like so many men. She was like a real quick drawer, so she kept winning. And she ended up having to go on the run for some reason, but I can't remember why. And her girlfriend's parents literally put her in a nunnery. What are the nun places? A monastery, but for nuns? What's that called again? Do you know what that's called, chat? Let's just call it a nunnery for the minute. They committed her to a nunnery. A convent, thank you. So they put her in one of those so she could never do any of the hanky-pankies with any girls again and live a godly life in the convent. And this duelist lady broke into the convent, stole her, burnt the convent down, and they went on the run again. So she had a pretty cool story, and that's pretty historical. That I think that was like 100 years ago, maybe 100 and a half. I think that was the 1800s. Really bad time, might be wrong, but she was cool, and you should look into her too. But there's loads of gay icons from history that we totally need films about. There was a gay guy whose science saved us during World War II here in the UK, and we imprisoned him. He did life in prison for being gay. He was considered a sexual deviant. So even though he essentially won the war for us by, I think he decoded stuff. I think he decoded like the German communications. He cracked the code, and so we were able to win a few fights and not lose hundreds of fleets of people. And it turned the war. Alan Turing. Yeah, wasn't he the gay guy? Wasn't he, like, put in prison for being gay? They sterilized him. Oh my god. There you go. Gay history. Really fucking interesting. Really cool. Really sad. But also really cool. So yeah, there's loads of gay books. And obviously, the romance. Very smart guy. Yeah, I got so many facts about this. Like, a lot of people theorize that Marilyn Monroe was asexual with a romantic attraction to women. And the reason why is because she had diaries, and a lot of them have been sold, and people read them all the time and stuff. And in it, there are many quotes of her saying that she's never really truly been interested in a man or lusted after a man, but that she can appreciate the beauty, the physical beauty of a woman, and that she's never really been that fussed with sex, and she could spend the rest of her life without sex if she wanted to. But like that, to be honest with you, she understands why people find women hot, but she doesn't really understand all this fuss about sex and things like this. And so some people think that she might be asexual, but not a romantic, and might have a romantic attraction to women rather than like a sexual attraction to women. Yeah, that does sound like asexuality, I guess. Yeah, but I guess there wasn't very much educational knowledge or understanding about it at the time, which is horrendously tragic when you think about it, because she was so fucking sexualized her whole life, right? To the point where that guy, wasn't he like the Playboy bunny guy or whatever? That guy had himself buried upside down, so he's facing down. He's put in the slot above her, like she's in one of those mausoleum walls, and like she's in one slot, and there's a guy upside down facing her, and it's how he requested that he be buried, so that he's always on top of Marilyn Monroe. Hugh Hefner. Yeah, I've got lots and lots of dark facts. I have to restrain myself from doing dark facts, but I'm very, very tempted to be like a dark facts dispenser for hire. So like, maybe I should make it my job. Maybe you can come here and be like, I would like one dark fact, please, and like slip me $1 or $2, and I will give you one. I know a lot of Hefner dark facts as well. Want to share? Is there a lot of Hefner specific dark facts? Oh, of course there is, if he's the kind of guy who would do that. Greed keeps you violent? I don't know. I feel like you could be non-violent and greedy, though. I read Playboy for the articles. And we believe you. My mom actually, before she passed, she collected a fuck ton of magazines and books. I am now in the terrible predicament of being like, I feel guilty for everything I throw away of hers, because she loved her stuff deeply and would never have wanted any of it to be thrown away ever. She would have wanted every last thing she ever owned to be completely treasured for the rest of all eternity in every single way. Like, she'd want a museum just dedicated to her, right? So like it hurts me, but I can't keep it all, and I have to get rid of some of it, and some of it no charity shops will take it. It cannot be kept in any way, like nobody wants it. It's so fucking hard. And I have these piles of magazines, and part of me looks at them and goes, one day they will be historic, because like as we transition to digital media, and as governments and like really shady organizations seek to buy out things like the Wayback Machine and stuff and Wikipedia so they can edit history, these printed words are going to be our last vestige of accurate history. and I think they should be kept and preserved. And like, if I had the space and the conditions for it, I would totally keep and preserve them. But I can't stack my entire house with my mom's hoarded magazines. And it's not like they're in perfect condition. Some of them are terrible condition, but still historically like important. And I'm like, it would be really cool for these to continue existing in 200, 300, 400 years, you know? But I can't keep them all. Unless you guys want to buy me a house that's absolutely massive with a perfect basement that doesn't ever change temperature and is mold proof and all the rest of it, like oh yeah, go ahead and run that dono, Tony.
My patient has 2 trans grandkids. She told me she doesn't know how to refer to them, so she just calls them her little changelings. I thought that was so wholesome and made me realize acceptance has nothing to do with what generation you're from.
That is the coolest donor message ever. Thank you. I love that. The pyramids had mold-proof basements. I don't know what you're saying about that. Are you saying you guys want to buy me the pyramids so I can store all my mom's magazines in them? Because that's a bit elaborate, but I'll take it. I wouldn't say no. Although I do think it would be I'm British, so I feel like it might be a minor okay, maybe a major atrocity for me to own the pyramids. I feel like we've taken enough of Egypt's history as it is. But if you insist, you will have to explain it to them, though. I don't think that they're just going to take my word for it. Oh my god, Dennis, steady on. Dial it back. He's just like, yeah, colonize it. I'm like, whoa, okay, I'm not that British. I'm not that British, okay? I, I'm only mildly British. Like a weak cup of tea. I'm not a strong cup of tea. I'm only a little bit British. I'm not British enough to go colonizing anyone. I still genuinely believe, despite my genetics, that everybody else should keep their stuff. Like, I'm fine with other people having things. I'm not like, no, they're all my things. You know? It was part of the reason why I felt weird about, like, potentially moving to America. I was like, I considered it for a while. Genuinely was gonna move to America, and one of the reasons I didn't, was because I was like, "Can I really, truly ever own anything? Or am I just technically stealing it from Native Americans? Like, isn't it kind of bad that everyone just came in and stole their land and kicked them off and just, like, mass murdered them and stuff, and continued to stay on their land long after we realized that it was wrong to do this?" And I was like, "Could I truly ever own a home there? Would it really ever be mine, or would I just be withholding something that isn't rightfully mine?" And I just couldn't. I was like, I don't know how I would ethically ever get my head around living in America. That kind of happened many times in history, though. Yeah, and it was wrong then too. Like, uh, I don't know, theft, rape, murder happened throughout every stage in history. I'm not gonna go stab your grandma and be like, it's happened many times in history. No? Like, I don't really know what that has to do with anything. It happened before, why not again? Exactly, I can. But anyway, America has concentration camps now, so I'm really, really glad that I decided that was a dodged bullet. Dodged. Found out today that ICE has decided to stop reporting on the deaths of people they release because they started releasing people that became terminally ill in their care. And they have stopped reporting on how many people die, in short succession after having been released. That's fishy as fuck. Yeah, a little bit. And that's just the beginning. History spoiled us, though. Yeah, I do feel like history has a lot of spoilers about how this goes. Oh my god, that is the most light-hearted way to put that I've ever heard. What's your take on the UFO stuff going on, lady? They keep So, they'll have these government meetings where, really high up government officials will go, "Yeah, so we have a bit of alien technology. What of it? So what?" And, people keep glazing over it, and people keep seeing the news as, government admits to aliens. And government admits to owning alien technology, blah, blah, blah. Government admits there's multiple species. What's funny about that is, press 1 if you heard me years ago say, yeah, 2 heads of military defense in 2 separate countries after they retired, right, came forward and said, hey, yeah, so there's a lot of species we're in contact with, alien species, and they both said the exact same number of species many years apart. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I think it's healthy to be suspicious, but I find that really interesting. I think it's healthy to be dubious of things that have not been proven, but I find that specific fact really, really interesting. I keep circling back on that one. And what do you know? In modern times, so many years later, yeah, the American government is now saying it too. Yeah, there's many, many species that we're in contact with. And I'm like, huh, what do you know? What do you know? That's kind of weird. That's very interesting and weird. Because if it was all a lie, because humans do lie, and to be honest with you, humans lying is much more likely than there being many, many species that we're talking to. However, it seems odd to me that many different disconnected governments, head of military defense, comes forward and says exactly the same lie for some reason. Same lie. Like they could all lie about aliens in different ways. They came up with the same lie about aliens, that starts to be suspicious. That's like, that's weird. And so, I've always found that fact interesting. And now, with the more recent stuff that's been released, I'm like, I knew there was a reason I fixated on that detail. I knew it. I knew it. I really fucking hope that one day we find out specifically the exact reason why Epstein had a painting on his walls of George Bush crashing 2 paper airplanes into 2 block towers. Because the person who painted that painting was just like a student artist who made it to make a political point, blah, 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 blah. Has no connection with Epstein whatsoever, right? Epstein just seen it when he was just going and doing tours and he wanted to buy it, right? He was looking at loads of different art and he wanted to buy it. But why though? Because he specifically tended to like putting confronting things to do with his own crimes on the walls. So in the place where he would molest a lot of young girls, there were loads of pictures of underage girls naked all over the walls everywhere. That was his thing. He liked to flaunt it. Whatever he was up to that was nefarious, he liked to flaunt it. And in his business office, where he conducted a lot of deals and talked to a lot of politicians and was very well connected and all this sort of stuff, he had that painting behind him while engaging with high up people. And I want to know why he wanted it. What little bit of his sensibilities did that tickle? What was he flaunting there? Yeah, I have questions about it. I have questions about it. Can you tell my wife to stop tickling me? Hey, could you stop tickling him? He doesn't like that, I promise you. It might be really fun, and it might be really annoying, and you might really enjoy that, but you don't have his consent, and now you no longer have my consent to tickle your husband, bitch. Okay? That's our husband now. No tickling. Yeah, we got a husband. crime documentaries in 10 years going to be lit. You see, I want to press fast forward and I want to peek into history. I want to know what they're going to be saying about this time in like the year 2120. You know, or in 300 years. I want to know what people generally know about us from up then, basically. Lies. Yeah, I think a lot of stuff will be misrepresented and not be very accurate. Absolutely. And I used to think that, you know, from here on out, history will be really, really accurate because we have photographs, we have videos, you know, we have all of these ways to document and archive things. You don't have to store information on paper anymore. We can store things digitally. I was like, oh, wow, history could be so accurate from here on out. Nope. Oh, boy. With the invention of AI and the fact that, you know, governments have started deleting history already online and like burning books and making books illegal, certain books illegal in schools and stuff, I'm like, oh, I was so wrong. It's just gonna be the same made up shit again. Like, did you know Napoleon wasn't even fucking short? Like, most of the people who remember Napoleon now, they imagine a really short guy. He wasn't short. I was just made up about him. Hey, what do you think of ASI, artificial superintelligence? I mean, all the billionaires are trying to have a race to build a god, essentially, is what that is. But what I find even more interesting is organic superintelligence. So now we're making brain organoids where we're growing little human brains in petri dishes and then doing experiments on them and making them live in virtual worlds where they believe they're butterflies and using them for tasks, computational tasks and stuff, because they store energy more efficiently and have better computing power than the artificial intelligences we're building. And there are loads of different things that we are learning from them and teaching them to do. So we taught them how to play computer games. There's a brain organoid who lives in Doom, which sounds incredibly unethical because we've made a tiny human brain and their whole world is essentially hell. But we're working towards having them drive robots. So we're putting on an artificially grown, but a completely organic brain in an artificial body and having it control it. We also learned that, you know, humans need pain to exist and our brains to work. Like if the organoid does not have a capacity to suffer and experience suffer, the brain degrades and deteriorates really quickly. It's like the Matrix. The Matrix actually predicted this, which is really scary. In the Matrix, the reason why they could not make a happy world for humans, the reason why the Matrix is this virtual world, like average Joe world, where you can have a job and lose it and die horribly and all that stuff, right? And there's suffering. And it was like, why didn't the AI just make us all happy little pigs generating batteries and energy? Why did they make us like this? And the reason why was because if we lived in a happy, flawless world, we died. Our bodies and minds would just quit. And it's so bizarre that a movie designer, just someone who writes movies, predicted something that fundamentally turned out to be biologically true, scientifically true. That is so fucking weird. But the more we develop that technology, the more we're going to question our reality, because if we figure out how to make an organoid live in a completely virtual reality and think that it is in the human world, then how are we going to distinguish our own human world? How are we going to know that we're not in one ourselves? Like, it's going to fuck with our sense of reality. But alongside that, people are making ethical questions of like, is it legal or ethical to do this? And I think most of the answers are kind of no, but they're going to do it anyway. But what are we going to use them for? How far is it going to go? Like, are we going to start putting manufactured human brains that like were grown in petri dishes? Are we going to put them in sex robots? Are we going to make them slaves? Are we going to, you know, because I feels like we're already kind of enslaving them for research, even though we are proving their sentience. So like, everything about this is crazy. And it's like, technically, artificial intelligence doesn't feel. It can just replicate feelings, which isn't the same as actually feeling them. Like an actor pretending to be a new character and pretending to go for a tragedy is not the actual same as going through a tragedy. Like if you're in a play about someone getting cancer, it is not the same as getting cancer. And so like artificial intelligence, like replicating the responses someone whose suffering is not the same as them actually experiencing it. However, growing a organic intelligence with a nervous system and designing it specifically so it incorporates suffering into its experience is a whole nother, like, kettle of fish. They will suffer. They will experience everything. So that interests me more than the superintelligence. Superintelligence is interesting, but I don't know. The organoids interest me more. If I had to pick between an hour reading about one or the other, the organoids would win. What would make AI alive? Free will? I mean, I think you're asking what would make AI sentient, because being alive is like an actual scientific, like, that fits into a neat little box right now. It's like, do you breathe? Do you shit? What were the other ones? Like, there's like 5 or 7 things that qualify you as a life form according to science. It's like, do you excrete? Homeostasis. Yeah. Like, we've got a neat little box for life, but we don't have a neat little box for sentience yet, which is pretty intelligent. Pretty intelligent, pretty incredibly interesting, because, like, we're looking for life on other planets, but we don't even know all the different configurations that life and sentience can have. So we're gonna miss a bunch of shit at first. It'd be so funny if we probe and look into the universe for hundreds of years and never find life, but once we're advanced enough to identify different kinds of life, we find out that it was on our doorstep or on our own planet. Like, what if we find, like, that there's life on our own planet in an alternate dimension? Or that because we can't perceive certain things, so we don't have all the senses an animal can have, that we knew that there were other beings around us that we just never knew existed. Yeah, like, maybe you have to prestige as a species into, like, finding other species. Maybe it's not, like, how far you can explore, but just, like, how smart you can get. That is the barrier of entry. Apparently, people hypothesize that there might be other life on Earth that we just aren't aware of. That is life. Yeah, I absolutely would not be surprised if we discover whole new types of life form. Um, there are people who have wild theories about the life on Earth, and some of them are just, I don't think, very plausible, but still very interesting. Like, there are some people who think that whales are aliens and that they have stargates under the sea that they use to migrate between worlds as the conditions get more and more right during certain seasons. So some people think that because whales disappear for half the year and nobody knows where the whales go, that they must be aliens using interplanetary devices to just go and migrate to another planet under the sea. And that we don't know where these stargates are because they're so deep under the ocean. There are people who genuinely believe that, living and walking and just existing around us. I love conspiracy theories because even if I don't believe them, just they make such cool stories. Like, why hasn't everyone ever written a book about that? That would just make a great sci-fi on its own. It doesn't, you don't even have to believe it. Just write sci-fi. I'd watch/read that. Me too. Me the fuck too. Lots of conspiracy theories are very harmful because they make people deny science. Yeah, I guess. And also history, and also politics, and all sorts. Like, yeah, sometimes conspiracy theories can be bad if they are not accurate. But what I find fun is that quite a lot of things that used to be conspiracy theories like a year or two ago are now just common knowledge. Like, it used to be a conspiracy theory that the elites, the global elites, were all conspiring and trading children's bodies for fun and recreation with complete immunity from the law. That used to be a conspiracy theory that they were all pedophiles. Nope. Now it's just commonly acknowledged. Everyone's like, "Yep, that is how that works. That is just fact now, not a conspiracy." You seen that big spaceship looking thing that was in the Baltic Sea? Yes, I am aware of that. I pointed it out when it came, when people reported on it years and years ago, and then it went dark, and I was like, why has nobody reported on this? Why has nobody looked into this? Where did that go? And I literally brought it up on stream one day. I was like, I was reading about this and I was really interested. What the fuck is the structure? It's really interesting. And so for a brief period of time, people came forward and they were like, then there was like a cover up, like article that was like, oh, a lot of people were just digitally enhancing the scans of the ocean floor with wishful thinking and making it look like a spaceship when it wasn't. And it's actually a blur that doesn't really look like a spaceship. And it turns out it's just a nodule of rock and we should all move on and ignore it. And then more controversies came out about it, right? And the people who initially discovered it literally documented how there was government agencies and military. They documented being barred from going to the area again. And they documented how quite reliably in a field, like it has a force field. Whatever it is, when you put like certain kinds of equipment down there to record it in any way, shape, or form, it's like it impedes it. And things like this. They recorded all this unexplainable shit that Rocks doesn't do. And yeah, then more and more controversies came out, and then it's dark again. Nobody's talking about it. And I find that fascinating. But to be honest with you, I can picture a few different ways that a giant rock like that with a massive trail behind it could exist. For example, the Baltic Sea used to be glacier. So it could have been glacial shift. So it could have been that a large nodule of rock could have sat inside the ice. And then as the ice moved, it could have got dragged across the ocean floor. Because it really does look like something crashed really hard into the ocean floor and scraped this long landing strip, and then it lands and it's saucer shaped. It's really interesting. It does not look natural. It does not look like a natural rock formation. I was like, maybe a glacier brought it there, but that would still make it an unusual object. And its shape, it would not explain its shape. So I was like, it's really interesting. Even if it's a natural formation, it's fucking fascinating. But the fact that the military started trying to guard it really interested me as well. It's like, why would they be interested in a rock formation? So whether it's aliens or not, who cares? If the military finds it interesting, if the military's like, okay, everybody back up, we want it now, that means there is something interesting about it. Even if it's something naturally interesting about it that is totally not aliens, that you don't just, do you know how much money it takes for naval operations to happen, military naval operations to happen? It has to be something interesting. It has to be something of interest, even if it's not interplanetary interest. They can't exploit it, they won't go for it. Maybe. But yeah, I should probably go. I've just realized the time, but thank you so much everyone for hanging out with me. I'm gonna cherish every last stream that we have together this week because I miss streaming when I don't do it. I genuinely do at this point. I feel like you're all my friends, and I feel like I've watched some of you grow up and get jobs, and I've watched some of you like really blossom as people and go from recluses to having loads of friends and all sorts. Like I've seen, like I feel like you guys. I look forward to seeing you guys all the time. Yeah, and like I'm gonna miss you. So hopefully you're here next stream. My next stream is on Wednesday, and I will see you then. Yeah. Why don't we do a raid? Why don't we do a raid? Cheeky little raid. Who shall we raid? We have. Let's raid Mm. Let's rate this person. They look like they're having fun. Did it work? No! There we go. Okay, be nice. Don't embarrass me. And I'll see you Wednesday, okay? Can't wait till next year when I can finally join the Discord server after like 5 years of waiting. Wait, why were you waiting? You're not a child, are you? Uh-oh. Has someone been watching me since they were like little? Uh-oh. Well, that's troubling news. Good luck with that. You have a great life, all of you. I will see. I'm gonna click right now. Be nice to everyone. Bye.